You are the one compensating. Listen to what I say. Nux chuckled and then quickly rolled over. The one on the top was now him. Then, without giving her any time to react, he pulled his rod out before thrusting it deep inside her without any mercy. Oh! Felberta's body jerked in pleasure as he smashed his rod inside her so roughly. My dear Fel, do I now have the permission to touch your beautiful breasts? Nux teased. Felberta, on the other hand, was already on cloud 9 and wouldn't allow the pleasure to stop in any way. Do whatever you want, she nodded. Nux smiled as he didn't tease her anymore. He removed her gown and then her black bra as he bent down and started licking her beautiful nipple. At the same time, he moved his rod out before slamming it in. So good! Waves of pleasure assaulted her body from 2 different places. The feeling was too much for her already sensitive body, and she moaned out loud. Pleased by her reaction, Nux increased the speed of his hips moving while he started sucking on her erect nipple. Felberta kept moaning in pleasure as Nux drilled her mercilessly, and at the same time he played with her beautiful breasts. Her body twitched uncontrollably as her back arched up and her eyes rolled back. With what remaining strength she was left with, she used it to hug his head that was sucking her nipple before pulling it towards her mouth and forcing a kiss on him. Nux, of course, did not refuse the lovely offer, and his tongue moved quickly as it entered her mouth. Their tongue fought for supremacy as they exchanged their saliva with each other. The scene was incredibly alluring. Her saliva felt sweet, and just as Nux was enjoying the taste, he felt her walls tightening as her legs started trembling. Then he felt her grip around his head tightening. The pleasure he was feeling also increased. Knowing that they were both at their limit, Nux decided to speed things up. His hips started moving at a faster rate, while his hand moved towards her erect nipple and he pinched it. The pleasure shot up through the roof, and Felberta's whole body twitched uncontrollably before her juices gushed out. Nux also performed one last thrust before he filled her insides with his jizz. Then he felt Felberta's grip weakening. He kneaded her soft breasts gently as he lay right beside her. That felt good, he muttered softly as he grabbed her from behind and touched her body all over. Felberta let out a soft too tired to say anything else. Feeling that she was tired, Nux decided to stop touching her, but just as his hands were about to move away, Felberta grabbed his hand before placing it on her breast. She let out a small again, letting Nux guess what she wanted to say. Nux, of course, did not disappoint, and he smiled before he started caressing her breast gently. The 2 of them cuddled for a long time before they slept. The next day, Nux and Felberta woke up. There was a big smile on Felberta's face. Suddenly, Nux remembered something and apologized. I am really sorry. What happened? Nux didn't say anything and directly brought out the 3-star armor she gave him. I destroyed your family treasure, Nux muttered guiltily. Felberta's eyes widened in disbelief when she saw that huge hole in the armor. She touched Nux's chest in panic as she questioned, Are you okay? Were you hurt somewhere? I'm okay, but Don't worry about it. It's just armor after all. It was meant to protect someone, and it did. Felberta waved her hand nonchalantly. Nux nodded and smiled a little. He knew that she was just trying to act nonchalant. How can the armor not be precious if it was treated as a family treasure by a Viscount's family? But how did it get damaged so badly? Even a 3-star beast can only dent it. How can there be such a big hole like that? Didn't you see the 4-star beast's corpse? Right, wait, but you said that you can defeat a 4-star beast easily. How did this happen then? I said I can easily defeat a 4-star beast now. I wasn't that strong back when I fought it. Also, this didn't happen because I was weak. Saying that, Nux took out his broken sword. My sword broke when I was defending against its attack. If it weren't for that, I could have defeated it easily. Felberta widened her eyes in horror. How strong must an attack be to break a 2-star sword and then a 3-star armor? What if that attack had landed on Nux? Then she glanced at Nux with a worried look. Knowing what she was thinking, Nux smiled as he patted her head. Don't worry, as I said, I'm strong. I mean, I did defeat a 4-star beast without a weapon, right? Only then did Filberta realize that even after losing his sword and armor, he still defeated a 4-star beast and came back uninjured. Although he had the healing potion, it can't heal if the injury is very deep. He's really amazing, Filberta thought inwardly. Now that I destroyed your family treasure, how about I compensate you with my body? Why not? Filberta laughed out loud as the two rolled over each other and started another round of pure bliss. For the next whole week, Nux spent his blissful days under the skirts of Filberta, Skyla, and Lane. He was really happy to get back to his previous schedule. Although he did not gain any decent improvement in his strength, the pleasure he felt and the happy smiles his women had the whole time was enough for him. However, this did not mean that he didn't work. A day ago, he activated his Conceal and left the kingdom to enter the Woods dynasty. He then entered one of the most renowned merchant companies before sealing a few of their products. No, he did not buy them, and he did not feel even the slightest guilt in his heart while stealing them. It won't affect a big company like this one if I steal some of their goods. Thinking that, he stole whatever he found was good and returned it. It took him 2 days to leave, steal, and return. After that, he spent another blissful day before it was time to meet Annis, the maid of the royal palace, who is out on her week off. Right now, Nux was wearing an expensive-looking purple-colored robe. Combined with his raven hair, his hypnotic golden-colored eyes, and exquisitely carved face, he looked amazingly charming. Looking like that, would you even need to bribe that Anise girl at all? She might even agree to do anything for you, say, just so she could talk to you for a little longer. Filberta snorted. Although they didn't say anything, from the way they were nodding, Skyla and Lane completely agreed with her. I can bribe her with my body, can't I? Nux chuckled. Filberta just snorted in answer, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. Ha ha ha! You are so cute. Now tell me, do I look good? Nux questioned with a charming smile. The 3 women nodded. Lane even had a blush on her face. Then why don't you 3 give me a good luck kiss on my lips? The 3 of them nodded again with bright eyes before coming forward one by one and sealing his lips. After tasting all of their lips, Nux turned toward Skyla and nodded. I will be counting on you today. Skyla nodded with a determined look as if she was going into a war. With her childlike face, her expression looked very adorable. Knock, knock, knock. An hour later, Skyla knocked in front of a door of an unknown house. The door opened, and a girl in her 20s appeared. She was Annis Welch, a 27-year-old girl who works as a maid in the royal palace. She had blonde hair, crystal blue eyes, a small nose, and cherry red lips. She had cute freckles on her face and a thin body. She was definitely above average in terms of looks, but when compared to the likes of Skyla, Lane, or Filberta, she was greatly overshadowed. Annis, long time no see, Skyla greeted with a smile. However, Annis right now was busy glancing at the charming man with an exquisite face standing right in front of her and didn't reply. Annis! Then Skyla patted her shoulder and she finally came out of her reverie. Skyla, long time no see. What are you doing here? She questioned, however she kept sneaking a few glances at Nux as she said that. Nothing. I was just buying something for Viscount Filberta when this gentleman approached me and questioned the way he can get in touch with a maid working in the royal palace. I instantly remembered that it must be you're off right now and brought him here. Oh, I understand. Annis nodded to Skyla before her eyes glanced at Nux and she smiled brightly. What can I help you with, gentlemen? Hello, beautiful lady. My name is Dio Brando, the leader of Brando Merchant Company from the Woods Dynasty. Can we talk inside?" Nux replied with the most charming smile he could make. Of course, he did not forget to use his eye of discerning. Name, Annis Welch. Age, 27. Mana cultivation, advance. Body cultivation, mortal. Race, human. Talent, medium. LV, 25. HP, 280 by 280. MP, 390 by 390. STR, 29. AGL, 34. VIT, 28. STM, 32. INT, 40. DEF, 28. His smile seemed to have worked as Annis's face turned a little red as she replied, Oh, I'm so sorry. Please come inside." "Then I'll take my leave," Miss Skyla muttered. "Miss, I am thankful for your help." "Don't mention it," Skyla replied. "Skyla, don't forget to meet your best friend later. Come over tomorrow, we'll catch up." "Yeah, I'll come." Skyla wondered when she became her best friend, but since she didn't want to sound rude, she nodded before leaving. Looking at her expression, I think the first step will be easy, she thought inwardly, as she continued searching a few shops to continue her act before leaving. On the other hand, Nux entered Annis's house and sat on a chair. "I'm really sorry. I don't live here often, so the furniture isn't well maintained." "I understand. To work so hard that you don't even have the time to furnish your house? You're a hard-working lady," Nux complimented with a smile. Annis blushed when she heard that, and a small smile appeared on her face. Although he misunderstood what she meant, she did not have any intention to correct him. "Oh, where are my manners? Let me bring something for you to eat." "I don't really. I can't do that. I have to treat my guests well." Nux gave up and nodded. Of course, he used his sense to see if she was doing or thinking anything weird, but seeing that she was just making tea with a blush, he smiled and shook his head. A few minutes later, Annis returned with tea and some cookies. "I'm sorry for the wait." "It's not a problem." Then he drank a sip before his eyes lit up. "Delicious! Waiting for a few minutes? I can even wait for hours to drink this tea. Your hands are simply magical," Nux praised wholeheartedly. Anise blushed under his praises and smiled. This man in front of him was really pleasing to the eyes. Not only that, he was even polite and respectful to her, unlike all other rich men who treat her like nothing. Anise had a good impression of him. She then sat on the other chair and questioned, "Sir Dio, may I know your purpose for coming here?" "You see, my Brando Merchant Company is new, but I can guarantee you that the products we have are all high quality. The competition we faced in the Woods Dynasty is too much, so I decided to come here and test my luck, believing that products from another kingdom might sell faster here and have more demand. I also wanted to sell my products to the royal harem and learned that the best way to do that is through the head maid. Since I can't directly contact the head maid, I came to you. I hope you can help me with this." Anise nodded in understanding. This wasn't the first time someone came to her like this. But unlike others, this person treated her politely and is good-looking. She wanted to help him to the best of her abilities. Seeing that she didn't reply, Nux continued, "Of course, I will not ask you for this favor without giving you anything." "Mr. Dio, please don't say that. You don't need to give me anything. Today was my last day off. I will return to the royal palace tomorrow and tell the head maid about you. Don't worry. I guarantee you that you will be talking with the head maid day after tomorrow at the same place at the same time. I just request you to not be late, since the head maid is strict when it comes to time." "Ah, thank you very much." Nux then took out a bottle of perfume and spoke. "Miss Anise, this is my little gift. Mr. Dio, please don't say that. You don't need to give me anything. This is not for you helping me meet the head maid. This is for the delicious tea you served me. Miss Anise, please take it. Consider it me gaining some points so that I can come back here someday and drink the tea." Nux replied with a smile and placed it in her hands. Anise did not deny it this time. She blushed a little before keeping the perfume in front of her mirror. The two then talked a little more before Nux left. On tea. Tis last day off my foot. According to Skyla, she should still have at least 4 days off. Tis ticks to think that she would choose to annul her week off just so she could help you quicker. Having a good-looking face really helps, huh? Felberta snorted in annoyance. Oh, come on. It wasn't due to my face. It was because I was gentle and respectful with my approach. Do you even hear yourself? Gentle and respectful? If only it was that easy. Huh. Won't she will be willing to sleep with you if you asked her more gently and respectfully? Nux stayed silent. She might, huh? Felberta understood what his silence meant. Having a good-looking face really helps, Skyla muttered from behind, and Lane nodded. Nux's lips twitched, seeing the three of them acting in sync. He then calmed himself and smiled. Come on, girls, isn't that a good thing? The faster we meet the head maid, the faster our plan progresses, right? That's what the problem is, Skyla and Felberta replied at the same time, while Lane nodded in agreement. Nux just shook his head and chuckled. All right, don't act like this. Don't we still have 2 days before I meet the head maid? Shouldn't we enjoy the time we have rather than talking about this? Nux suggested. Felberta's eyes brightened as she snorted. You don't have to tell us that. We know what to do. Miss Anise, I believe I have been honest with you and did not offend you in any way. Then why are you still trying to cheat me? Nux questioned as he glanced at the woman in front of him and Anise following her. What do you mean, Sir Dio? Anise questioned in panic and confusion. She didn't cheat him at all. Why would she ever try to cheat such a gentle man? I have obviously done some research before coming here and know that the head maid is a woman who is over 40 years old. How is this lady you brought here is no older than 25? Even if you wanted to cheat me, you could have at least brought an older woman rather than bringing this beautiful girl here. A smile appeared on the young girl's face when she heard him, and she replied, Mr. Dio, you have misunderstood. Anise did not cheat you in any way. I am indeed the head maid of the royal palace, Etta Osborne. What? Nux put on a surprised expression before he completely changed his expression into an apologetic smile and turned towards Anise. Miss Anise, I am really sorry for not believing you. No, it's all right, Anise nodded with a smile. Nux then turned towards Etta and smiled. Miss Etta, I must admit, you have maintained yourself well. You look stunning. He was still surprised that this girl who looked no older than 25 was a more than 40 years old head maid of the palace. Well, not really. He already knew the truth. He just wanted to compliment her and get on her good side. Name, Etta Osborne. Age, 43. Mana Cultivation. Master, Body Cultivation. Mortal, race, human, occupation, head maid of the Skyfall Kingdom's royal palace. Talent, medium, level 33. HP, 280 out of 280. MP, 390 out of 390. STR, 40, AGL, 42, VIT, 41, STM, 40, INT, 58, DEF, 37. Miss Etta, I must admit, you have maintained yourself well. You look stunning, Nux praised. Etta was a 1.65 meters tall woman. She had white-colored hair with shades of pink on the tips. This combined well with pink-violet eyes, and her tan skin gave her a different charm than others. Her small nose and rosy red lips, combined with the perfect hourglass physique that rivals Felberta, made her an extremely beautiful and alluring woman. She was indeed a beauty that could be compared with Skyla and Lane. Adding it with her tan skin, she delivered a lethal blow to Nux. Suddenly, a sound chimed inside Nux's head. Mission: fuck Etta Osborne. Description: well, fuck Etta Osborne. Reward: 10 system points. Warning: if the mission fails, the ability Craving Touch will be disabled. Time limit: 15 days. Nux smiled and shook his head. Mr. System, as always, you are a step too late. I have already decided to do it, so your mission is pointless. Of course, I'm not complaining. It's free system points after all. Thank you, Mr. Dio. You look dashing as well. Etta smiled and complimented back. Nux then turned towards Anise and smiled. Miss Anise, would you please allow me to drink the tea made by your hands again? Of course. You two have a seat and talk. I'll prepare the tea. Anise nodded and rushed into the kitchen with an excited look. All right, Mr. Dio. Although I would love to talk with you more, I still have some work to attend, so let's cut to the chase. I understand. Nux didn't waste time, and a bottle of perfume appeared in his hand. Miss Etta, can I please have your hand for a second? Nux asked gently as he moved his hand towards her. A tinge of red appeared on Etta's face before it disappeared within a second, and she nodded. Nux then gently grabbed her hand and sprayed some perfume on her wrist. Etta moved her hand close to her nose and sniffed. The fresh scent of gardenia entered her nose and she smiled. It smells really good, she praised. As they say, you are never fully dressed without a perfume. This perfume is called Fragrant Memories, one of our best products. Of course, he wasn't creative enough to introduce the perfume like that. He was just imitating the person who was selling it back in the Woods dynasty. All he did was that he changed the name, but even that was given by Felberta. Yes, not only did he steal their products, he even stole their introduction. Next then boldly walked over as he touched her shoulder and sprayed the perfume on her neck. This is my first product, and my gift to you. Nux smiled charmingly as he returned to his seat. Etta was still in a daze due to his smile, but she soon pulled herself out of her reverie and replied, You don't have to give anything to me. That is not possible. One should always appreciate beauties, and giving you this perfume is just me doing so. You sound like an experienced playboy. I'm just being honest with my thoughts. Etta smiled a little. Nux then brought out a purple-colored gown and introduced. Next is this beautiful, made of pure silk gown. It will add 2 extra stars to the beauty of any girl who wears it. Nux then kept introducing a few more items as they drank the tea made by Anise. An hour later, Nux decided that it was enough and stated, I still have a few more items with me, but I know that Miss Etta is a busy person. How about we meet tomorrow? The Silver Moon restaurant is really popular here. How about we meet at the same time? Mr. Dio, I still have some time. We can finish this today. We don't need to rush it, do we? Or is it that you don't like spending some time with me? Did I do something that offended you? Nux questioned with a slightly sad look. No, of course not. Rather, meeting you was a really pleasant experience. All right, we will do as you say, and I will meet you tomorrow. Something inside Etta forced her to agree when she saw his sad look. She had a good impression of this man. Although he had dealt with many merchants, and many of them praised and bootlicked her a lot, most of them only saw her as a golden egg-laying hen. Nux, on the other hand, looked genuine with his compliments and treated her with respect as well. Not only that, he was very pleasing to the eye. Then it's decided. We will meet tomorrow then. Nux stood up and offered his hand to her. Etta smiled as she grabbed his hand and stood up. I will make sure to free enough time and sit with you for a longer period. Nux smiled as he walked her to the door and answered, I would be grateful for that. It was pleasant meeting you, Mr. Dio. Pleasure's all mine, Miss Etta. As Etta walked away, Nux sighed before he glanced at Anise. What do you think? Did I manage to get on her good side? Don't worry, Mr. Dio. I can guarantee that she had a good impression of you. Oh? How are you so sure? Do you remember headmaid Etta saying that she was busy and has some work to do? Nux nodded. She wasn't just saying it for the sake of just saying it. She really had something to do. She told me that she had to leave in half an hour. However, she sat here and talked with you for an hour and was even ready to sit for a longer time. She is a person who is very strict with time. She never does what she did unless the person she is talking to is a high-ranking noble or she has a very good impression of the person in front of her. And trust me, no one has managed to get into her good books in just one meeting. Nux smiled when he heard it and muttered, "Guess I got a little lucky then." "Ah, headmaid Etta, you are here. This way, please." A waiter bowed respectfully and pointed at a certain room. Etta raised her eyes when she saw that. Although she was treated with respect everywhere she goes, it wasn't to this point. She shook her head to shake off these useless thoughts as she walked into the room the waiter pointed to. Entering the room, she saw Mr. Dio wearing magnificent black-colored robes as he sat on the chair. When Mr. Dio's eyes fell on her, they brightened as he quickly walked toward her with a smile. "Miss Etta, you look even more stunning than you did yesterday." He complimented as he offered his hand to her. Etta held his hand and a small smile appeared on her face. She put up some makeup on today and was glad that he noticed it. You smell really good as well." Nux complimented again, this time with a meaningful smile. Etta smiled back as she replied, "I tried your perfume today." As they say, a gem would only shine if it is in the right hand. I am very proud of my yesterday's self for finding the right gem for my perfume. Please have a seat, Miss Etta. Nux then pulled the chair like a gentleman and offered it to her. Etta took the offer with a smile and sat down. "Since I don't know much about this place, I will let you order the food for us. I believe that your judgment would be the most accurate one I can get." Nux smiled softly. Etta ordered the food, and Nux brought out a pink-colored gown and introduced, "This is one of the items I failed to introduce yesterday. Just like yesterday's gown, this one is also made from pure silk. However, it's designed by one of our finest tailors. The combination of the pink-colored gown and purple designs match your eyes as well. I am especially proud of this product." "It is amazing indeed." Etta then took out a few more items and introduces them. Etta liked them all. However, when Nux was about to take out another item, she stopped him and questioned, "Mr. Dio, please be honest. Do you intend to sell your products to the royal palace through me?" At her question, Nux smiled and answered, "That was the initial plan, yes." "Initial?" "Yes, the goal is still the same, but I found a more important goal right now." "Is that goal perhaps me?" Etta guessed and asked honestly. She wasn't stupid. Although she liked the items he introduced, half of them, including the pink gown, suited her a lot. The way Nux talked with her, the way he acted in front of her, it was as if he was giving some signals to her. As expected, beauty with brains, Miss Etta, is sharp, Nux smiled. Since you have already guessed, there is no point hiding it anymore. I want you to be mine, Etta. Nux declared with intense passion burning in his golden eyes. Etta was taken aback by the intense look in his eyes. Her heart jumped in excitement, but when she thought about something, she sighed and answered, "Mr. Dio, I am very pleased to learn about your feelings, but you have to understand that, although I might look young, I am more than 40 years old." "It does not matter," Nux interrupted. "As I said, I want to make you mine, Etta. The moment my eyes fell on you, that was the first thought that appeared in my mind. It does not matter how old you are. As long as you are not against me, I never back down." Etta remained silent. She was too overwhelmed by the sudden emotions that welled inside her. Pleasure, happiness, doubt, insecurity, myriads of emotions attacked her mind, and she was unable to come up with an answer on the spot. And as if knowing about it, Nux continued, "Of course, I do not expect you to accept me just because I said it, and I know that you will need time to think about all of this. How about this? 2 days later, we will go on a date. We will spend a full day together. We will go shopping, watch some plays if you like, have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. And after that, it will be up to you. Of course, if you still can't decide by then, we can go on another date next week, and we'll keep on doing it until you make up your mind." "We can do that?" Etta muttered quietly. "However, I will warn you before." Nux then walked toward her, before he moved his face closer to her and lifted her chin. "I am a very possessive man. Once you accept me, you will be mine. I won't let you get away from me," he whispered seductively. Etta's heartbeat quickened and her face turned red. Too close! He was too close! As if hearing her thoughts, Nux moved away and smiled. However, Etta, who should feel better now that his face was away, felt a tinge of disappointment welling in her heart. Now that we have talked about this, I think it's time to end the meeting." Suddenly, she heard Nux muttering and felt more disappointed. "Pat," but then she heard a sound and saw Nux bringing his chair next to her. "But, since we still have time, why don't we spend it together? I am still hungry. Shall we order food?" He also grabbed her hand as if it was the most natural thing to do. However, for some reason, Etta didn't reject him either. The two then spend some time together before Etta suddenly remembered, "Mr. Dio, I am very sorry that I forgot about it. I can't go on a date with you 2 days ago. As I am head maid, if I want a day off, I need to apply it a week ago, so we'll have to postpone it for a week." Nux did not take it to his heart and smiled. "Don't worry, Etta. We'll take it with your pace. I have already told you where I live. You can always send me a message, even if you want to postpone it for another week." No, I won't postpone it more. I want to go on a date as quickly as possible as well." "So how did it go with the head maid?" Felberta questioned as she sat beside Nux and stroked his large dick with her soft hands. It was good. I asked her out on a date. Nux replied as he moaned in pleasure. He then picked her up, placed her on his right thigh, grabbed her large breasts. "So quick." "Well, your man is an incredible man after all." Nux smiled as he removed her clothes and started kneading her breasts before flicking his finger on her sensitive nipples. Felberta's body jolted in pleasure before she questioned, "So, when are you going?" "She told me to meet after a week, but I believe I will receive a message to change that, and I will go with her 2 days later," Nux replied. "How are you so sure?" "Because your man is an incredible man," Nux smiled as he answered. You are no incredible man. You are just good when it comes to fooling innocent—" The Viscount wanted to complain, but her words were exchanged with her moan as Nux's fingers entered her cave. "Tisk, tisk. Who's innocent? The one who was going around finding boy toys because she was bored?" Nux teased. Felberta wanted to retort, but Nux's fingers were causing chaos inside her walls, touching all her sweet spots, causing her little sister to shiver in pleasure. However, she has already been with him for more than 2 weeks. How could she take his jab without doing anything in answer? She increased the speed of her hand and used another hand to cup his balls. The pleasure Nux was feeling increased and his fingers slowed down. At least I am not shameless enough to become someone else's boy toy. She retorted back with an expression that expressed her victory. However, she couldn't keep it for long. Nux already knew everything about her body. Not only that, the craving touch makes her body much more sensitive to his touch. How could she possibly resist him? Nux's fingers moved again, this time a lot faster than last time, and Felberta's body trembled in pleasure. Nux then placed her body on the bed before sliding his penis in front of her entrance. Don't tease me anymore. Felberta's body twitched while her little sister screamed in frustration. Do you believe that your man is incredible? I do. Felberta quickly accepted her defeat. No, it was not her defeat. It was just a tactical retreat. She will give in to pleasure this one time and would soon plan another attack and think of another way to dominate him. Good girl, Nux smiled before he slammed his dick right into her pussy. This way, another night filled with alluring moans passed. Author's note. Should I add small sessions like these as well? It will not affect the pace of the story and will also give every girl their respective screen time. What do you guys think? To be honest, I think I am a genius for coming up with an idea like this. All right, I'm going to the Crown Plaza. The next day, Nux told everyone, ready to leave. Is it really important to leave? Can't you just stay here for 2 days? Skyla questioned. Didn't I visit you yesterday afternoon and you were too tired to continue after one round? Since you send me off like that, what's the use of staying here? Nux chuckled. Skyla blushed in embarrassment. She knew Nux was just teasing her, but she still felt bad. Don't worry, I will return in 1 or 2 hours and will visit you first, okay? Skyla nodded excitedly as her eyes brightened. Felberta had already had her bathroom session, so she was satisfied. Lane, however, pouted. You should speak more if you want more, my dear Lane. If you don't speak, how will I know how much you love and miss me? Nux chuckled. Lane's face turned red as she muttered, visit me first next time. Her face then turned even redder and she lowered her head. Okay, Nux smiled, seeing her like that, and patted her head. All right, I'll be leaving now. Nux then activated his conceal and left. Crown Plaza was an inn he booked and stayed in as Dio. This is also the place where Etta would send a message if she had a change of plans. He then appeared in front of the inn before deactivating his conceal and walked in. Sir Dio, someone sent a message to you, the receptionist informed him before passing a closed envelope to him. Nux smiled. He thanked the male receptionist before walking into his room and opening the letter. As expected, Nux thought inwardly. It was Etta's letter that told him to be ready for their date tomorrow. Nux had already expected this. No, it was not because he thought that he was so handsome that she couldn't resist meeting him, but because of his most overpowered ability, the craving touch. He has been using every chance he gets to touch her. Yesterday, he even spent an hour holding her hand as they talked and ate. Although the effect might not be as potent as with Felberta, since she practically slept hugging him like a pillow and had his jizz all over her face, she would still think about him oftentimes a day, while her little sister tingles in anticipation. Then when she thinks that it will take a week for her to meet him, just the thought would be too much for her to bear, and she will send this message. His craving touch was as overpowered as always. The next morning, Nux smiled as he saw Etta standing right in front of him, wearing the pink-colored dress he gifted her 2 days ago. The dress matched well with her pink-purple eyes, and the contrast between her white-pink hair and her tanned skin made her look very enchanting. I don't know how many times I have told you this already, but Etta, you look gorgeous. Especially in that dress, Nux complimented. He was very proud of his choice when he bought the dress since it matched her eyes so well. He then extended his hand towards her with a gentle smile. A small blush appeared on Edda's face before she grabbed his hand and replied, "You also look as dashing as always." "Thank you. Then shall we enter the carriage?" "Carriage?" Edda muttered in surprise. "We can't enjoy our date here in this city, Edda. There are many eyes here," Nux replied. Thinking about it for a while, Edda nodded as well, and the two walked towards the carriage Nux had prepared. Like a gentleman he was, Nux first helped Edda get into the carriage before climbing in as well. Of course, Edda was a master stage cultivator, so she didn't need his help, but Nux wasn't going to miss the opportunity to get into her good books. The two of them sat inside and the carriage started moving. Of course, Nux did not forget to hold her hand, which she allowed with a slight blush on her face. "His hand feels warm," Edda thought inwardly before her attention was grabbed by Nux's question. "So, Edda, although I want you to be my woman, I recalled that I don't know anything about you. So while we are waiting to reach our destination, how about you tell me something about yourself?" "Well, there's nothing really special about me. My mother was the previous head maid of the royal palace. As for my father, I don't know who he is." Her face was full of disgust when she talked about her father, however. A thin smile appeared on her face as she continued. "My mother worked very hard. Starting from a normal maid, she rose and became a head maid. She then put all her efforts to train me as the next head maid. She made sure that I live a comfortable life ahead." Nux smiled as he recalled his mother from his past life. Mothers are the best, huh? There was a bit of melancholy in his voice. He was missing his previous family. However, he had already accepted that he had died and won't be able to see them anymore. He shook his head and a mischievous smile appeared on his face. "So, how is my mother-in-law right now?" However, a sad look appeared on her face as she replied, "She isn't here in this world anymore." None. Nux turned silent and didn't say anything more. He just tightened his grip around her hand to show her that he was here with her. "Oh, come on, it's our date! We shouldn't have this environment right now. My mother must be watching me from afar. She would kill me if she sees me being all emotional on my date." Edda then smiled brightly as she chimed. Nux smiled as well. He knew that she was sad, but he respected her for thinking about this date and trying to lighten up the room. He moved closer to her as he held her waist and smiled seductively. "You are right. You can't be sad right now, since I need to prove to my mother-in-law that I am indeed the best person his daughter can be with. How am I supposed to do that with you being all emotional, huh?" Edda blushed in embarrassment as she lowered her head. Nux was too close to her, but since it felt really good, she allowed it. A small smile then appeared on her face. Nux's eyes brightened up and he chimed. "Nice! That's what I was talking about. Look how beautiful you look with that lovely smile of yours. Smile more, more." Edda smiled more as he requested. Her face turned even redder than before. Their carriage then entered the lucky spring city. Their date continued as they first had breakfast and then did some shopping before having their lunch. They also watched some plays and then entered a fete to play some games. After they had dinner in a famous restaurant and were walking around at the night, hand in hand, Edda was looking at Nux with a weird look. Feeling strange due to her gaze, Nux furrowed his brows as he questioned, "Why are you looking at me like that? Am I too handsome?" "No." Nux then made an exaggerated expression as he replied, "What? Are you telling me I'm not handsome? How is that possible? You must be the first girl who thinks that. Are you sure your eyes are okay? Come on, tell me how many fingers are these?" "You're a narcissist," Edda chuckled. Nux then fixed his hair as he replied, "Of course I am. Gods won't bless everyone with a face like this." Edda laughed out loud, seeing him acting like that. "Still, why were you looking at me like that?" Nux questioned. "I just find you weird," Edda muttered. "What? How?" I just thought that you would drug the dinner we had and then take me to an inn and ravish me. But you didn't. Her voice was very low when she said her last sentence, and there was already a blush on her face. She even looked a little disappointed. Nux halted his steps when he heard her and looked at her weirdly. "Woman? What kind of sick thoughts run wild inside that head of yours?" "Woman, what kind of sick thoughts run wild inside that head of yours?" Nux couldn't help but exclaim out loud when he heard her. Is this woman okay? That thought didn't even cross his mind. Where are they? In a novel? And why the hell does she look disappointed? Seeing his reaction, Edda's face turned red in embarrassment and she lowered her head. If it was an anime world, smoke would have come out of her head. That was how embarrassed she was. Nux didn't know what she was thinking, but what he knew was that he had a chance, and a big chance at that. "Ha! I can't believe you were thinking that." Stop! Don't laugh!" "Stop!" Edda nearly cried out. Suddenly she felt Dio pulling her and pinning her to a nearby wall in a nearby alley. Her heart started beating quickly, and her face turned even redder. She looked at Dio's face, which was very close to hers in excitement and anticipation. "Edda!" Nux called out as he moved his face even closer to hers. Gaining her attention, he continued, "I think you have misjudged me. When I said I want you to be mine, it did mean your body, but I want your heart to be mine as well. I want all of you. I'm not stupid enough to cheat you for a moment of pleasure and then leave you for any other stinky man to have you. I won't allow that." Edda's heartbeat quickened even more. She could feel that her heart was so excited that it might even burst out. She felt unusually happy when she heard, "I want all of you," and a small smile appeared on her face. Then she felt a finger lifting her chin up. She looked at Dio's face, which was moving even closer to her, and his red lips were moving forward into a pout. Although she looked young, she was a 40-year-old woman. She wasn't someone innocent, and she knew where this was going. She felt different emotions assaulting her mind: fear, excitement, nervousness, and anticipation. Her pink-purple eyes looked into Nux's golden eyes that were filled with unconcealed desire and passion. Just as she noticed his gaze, her anticipation won and dominated all other emotions. She closed her eyes and decided to let him do whatever he wanted. She did not have to wait long, as she felt an extremely soft pair of lips touching her own. As if they had their own will, her lips moved forward and mingled with his. Nux's lips sucked her lower lip, while hers sucked his upper one, before they exchanged the targets. They shared a long kiss before Edda felt Dio's lips moving away. In that instant, her mind was filled with disappointment. She didn't want things to end this soon. She wanted more. That being said, she then heard Dio's voice. "Although I did not plan to drug your food and force you into my bed, I did book an inn for a night to ravish you." Edda's face turned red as she opened her eyes in surprise. "You booked an inn?" "Of course, a man should always be ready in case he gets his chance. Of course, it all depends on you. If you don't want it, I won't force you." Nux left the decision to her. Edda's thoughts moved quickly. She was really confused. She felt that everything was going too fast, and she should wait for a little more time. But she also anticipated how it would feel, and her heart burned with excitement. She wanted to grab her hair and pull them. She was just too confused. However, before she could think too much, Nux's voice sounded in her head. "Although I will say, if you miss today's chance, you will regret it in the future, because I can promise you that if you accept it—" Nux moved his face closer to her as he whispered in her ear, "these next few hours would be the best few hours in your whole life." Edda felt her entire body shuddering. She had decided, Although it was a little faster than usual, it was just because the two of them bonded well. Her heart feels happy when she is with Theo. She even wished that the time slowed down so she could spend more time with him. Yesterday, when she was working in the palace, his face was constantly appearing in her mind. She wanted to see and meet him quickly. The feeling was so intense that she used some of her connection to force the person looking over all the holidays of palace maids to give her a holiday today. Then she glanced at Dio, who was looking at her with eyes filled with desire, and felt a twitch in her vagina. Then she took a deep breath and finally made her decision. She would do it. She would experience her first night tonight. Right now, Nux was standing in front of Edda, and from her stiff movements and the redness that never left her face, he knew that she was nervous and excited at the same time. He smiled and walked toward her with a smile, and picked her up in his arms. "Un!" Edda exclaimed in surprise due to his sudden movement. Nux then placed her stiff body on the bed and smiled in satisfaction. Looking at how she was avoiding his gaze, he chuckled as he promised inwardly to make this her best night. Nux's hands moved towards her gown, and he then started removing it slowly. Whenever his hands touched her skin, Edda's body jerked, showing how nervous she was. "Calm down, I am not going to eat you," he spoke gently as he patted her head. Then, as if he thought about something, he corrected himself. "Well, I am going to eat you up, but you don't have to be nervous about it." His face had the same gentle smile as before. Edda's lips twitched. "Can you not contradict yourself? I am already very nervous here." However, since his head pats felt good, she allowed him to do what he wants. What she didn't notice was that her body had calmed down as she was thinking about all this. Nuxes then removed her gown and muttered in surprise, "Oh, a serious head maid of the royal palace wears a sexy black-colored bra and panty? That's surprising." Edda blushed, but before she could say anything, Nux continued, "Of course it's a warmly welcome surprise. You look very alluring, especially this combination of untanned and tanned skin of yours." Nux complimented before he bent down and sealed her lips. This time, however, his tongue took the charge and moved into her mouth. What surprised him was that, though timid, Edda's tongue responded to his tongue, and the two started mingling with each other. His hand didn't stay idle, as he quickly removed her panty and the bra, freeing her large, milky breasts. Then he ended the kiss as his lips traveled down, kissing her chin, then her neck, and her shoulder before moving to her breasts. Just as he kissed her nipple, he felt her body twitch. Then he kissed her pink nipple again before he started licking it. Seeing her moan like that, Nux thought about something. Was my theory correct? Do all large-breasted women have nipples as their weak point? He then shook his head inwardly as his hand moved towards her little sister. He circled his finger around her entrance, teasing her to his heart extent. Her body twitched even more. She tried moving her body a little so she could get his finger inside her pushy, but Nux just smiled and moved his finger away. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't tease me. I beg. You." Nux frowned as he glanced at her. Then he noticed her eyes had tears gathered in the corner, ready to fall at any moment. Why is she so sensitive? Is it because of craving touch? Nux shook his head and hurriedly plunged his middle finger into her pushy. Edda's body twitched a little, and she came. She came just after Nux's finger entered her vagina. "You came?" Nux questioned in surprise. Holy, how is this possible? Was his teasing a little too much for her? Was it because of craving touch? Did its effect get stronger with him as well? But that shouldn't be the case at all. He had read everything about his abilities, and nothing like this was mentioned. "I am fine. You can continue." He was pulled out of his reverie by her voice. Then he glanced at her face, and rather than looking tired after coming, her face screamed anticipation and her want for more. This woman is a little weird. Of course, Nux did not complain about it at all. He smiled evilly as he plunged his index finger inside as well. His fingers then moved into her canal slowly as he noticed the changes in her face. As every time he moans or her expression changes, he noted that spot before touching the same spot a while later and confirming his thoughts. On. Within just a few minutes, all her weak points were saved in his mind, and he specifically teased those spots, causing Etta to moan uncontrollably. Our 2x virgin has become a professional now. After he explored her cave like an experienced adventurer, Nux lowered his head and started licking her another weak point, her nipple. Etta's body jerked in pleasure as her cave tightened. Nux, however, didn't show her any mercy. On the contrary, he increased his speed, and his fingers created a blissful havoc inside her vagina. Etta's back arched up, her eyes rolled back, as her caves tightened even more. Nux took this chance and bit her nipple. I'm coming. As if a button was flipped, her tight cave loosened and a large amount of fresh juice gushed out. Then her body fell on the bed, breathing heavily. Nux, however, stood up as he placed his already large dick on her entrance and slid it up and down. By any chance, you're not thinking that this is it, are you?
By any chance, you aren't thinking that this is it, are you?
This is not, Etta muttered as she breathed heavily. An evil smirk appeared on Nux's devilishly handsome face as he replied, "Of course not." With that, he plunged his dick, which was drenched in her juices, inside her in one go. Soon, however, he faced incredible tightness, and he felt that he broke something. She was a virgin? Nux exclaimed inwardly. How could a royal palace maid be a virgin? He has learned a lot about this world and knew that although Skyla and Lane were safe because they were Felberta's maids, not every maid was so lucky. Most of the maids have to serve their masters, and sometimes their masters' guests, without complaining. This was especially true for the maids of the royal palace, which has many visitors. Although a head maid might be able to stay safe due to her status, Etta wasn't a head maid from the start. She started as a normal maid, and her mother's identity as a head maid wasn't enough to protect her. That was the reason why Nux was so surprised. As for her initial stiffness, he just thought it might be her first time with someone she has taken a little liking to. However, feeling her tight walls clenching around his dick as if wanting to engulf it, he knew he was wrong. He wanted to hit himself for being so inconsiderate. He wanted to ask if she was hurt, but seeing her arm covering her eyes as she bit her lips, he knew she was trying her best to hide the pain. He felt even guiltier, but respected her decision of not letting him know and acted ignorantly. He then bent down and started licking her pink nipple, trying to overshadow pain with pleasure. His method seemed to have worked as he heard a little moan. He continued licking her nipple as he kneaded her other breast with his hand. However, as soon as he touched her breasts, she moaned even louder. Is her weak point not her nipple, but her breasts? To test his theory, he kneaded her breasts even more and felt her vagina starting to twitch and release more juice. So that's how it is. Confirming his theory, Nux continued kneading her two breasts and soon felt her walls loosening a bit. He stayed like that for a little more time before he pulled his dick and slammed it deeper. After getting used to her tightness, Nux's movement turned smoother, and he increased his thrusting speed slowly. The more he drilled into her, the more Etta moaned. Her body twitched uncontrollably and accepted his thrusts without any resistance. She was too tired to resist it anyway, and since she can't do anything, she decided to trust her body to him. Of course, the waves and waves of pleasure that kept assaulting her mind and body continuously strengthened her thoughts. It feels too good. She never thought she could feel this good. And it was increasing even more. He was right. I would have regretted it my whole life if I had rejected it today. Ah! Suddenly, a jerk of pleasure assaulted her body. She then noticed that Dio's grip around her breasts had tightened, which filled her body with a weird feeling of pain and pleasure. Nux felt her walls tightening and her pussy twitching. Knowing that her body was already sensitive and was about to come again, he lifted her legs and placed him on his shoulder and drilled his huge red even deeper. Ah, ah, ah. His movements turned a little rougher, but Etta didn't care, as she moaned in pleasure. Her thoughts were already a mess. This just felt too good. Too good that she was unable to think straight. She just knew that she had to keep moaning so that the pleasure would never stop. Never. So she just moaned. Nux felt her walls tightening to the limit before it suddenly loose, her body arched up, eyes rolled back, and her tongue popped out. She came. Ugh, I'm coming. Seeing her perfect ahego face, Nux's dick twitched, and it painted her walls white. His body then fell beside Etta's, and a huge wave of energy entered his tired body along with a very familiar sound, which sounded inside his head. He knew what was this energy and was very excited. He finally leveled up and completed his mission. Ding! Mission accomplished. Mission, fuck Etta Osborne. Description: well, fuck Etta Osborne. Reward: 10 system points. Warning: if the mission fails, the ability Craving Touch will be disabled. Time limit: 15 days. 11 days left. Mission status completed. The reward will be sent to System Inventory. Just as he was about to open his status, he heard a weak voice. How about you tie my hands to the corner of the bed for the next round? What? How about you to tie my hands to the corner of the bed for the next round? What? Nux just couldn't believe what he was hearing. He felt like he was just hallucinating, but when his eyes fell on Etta, who was looking at him with a tired and excited look, he knew he wasn't. What the hell is this woman talking about? Is she okay? What kind of weird woman did he entangle himself with? Just to be sure that he wasn't dreaming, he questioned. Can you repeat what you said? I believe I misheard it. I asked if you could tie my hands to the corner of the bed for the next round? Etta answered, her voice shaking this embarrassment. Woman, do you still have the galls to look embarrassed? Nux exclaimed inwardly. He was now sure he wasn't dreaming. All right, let's not act pure and shocked anymore. Suddenly Nux smiled inwardly as he replied. Although this is a weird request, if you really like it, then why not? Who was he kidding? As a true man of culture in his last life, how could he not know there were people with weird tendencies and fantasies? Although he was initially shocked due to her request, after he registered it completely, his mind was filled with joy. Who doesn't have the fetish to tie their partner up and have sex with them? He did. Of course, he couldn't do it with Fell, Skyla, and Lane since they wouldn't like it, and he wouldn't force them. Etta, however, was different. She was the one who requested it of her own free will. Who Nux would be an idiot to let go of this one in 1,000 chance? Although he did not have a rope with him, he quickly took out one of his old robes and tore it. He then held at his hand before tying them up against the wooden pole that was there in the corner of the bed. It might not be easy to imagine, so here's the picture of that bed. Edda's heart started beating faster when he tied her hands like that. She still couldn't believe that she asked something like that. It was not only Nox who was surprised, she was surprised as well. She didn't know what happened. She just felt that she wanted to try it out, and something in her body compelled her to say it out loud. With both her hands tied to the pole, Nux forced Edda to sit on her knees, in a doggy position, with her ass facing him. Then, without giving her any time to rest, he plunged his dick into her pussy. She had already orgasmed 2 times, so her body, especially her little sister, was extremely sensitive. Just this one thrust was enough for her pussy to convulse and have a minor orgasm again. Her body lost all her strength, but since her hands were tied to the pole and she was on her knees with Nux standing behind her, she couldn't do anything and was forced to accept everything Nux drilled into her. However, rather than being lost or feeling bad about this situation, a weird sense of pleasure assaulted her body. This pleasure was a lot more potent compared to the pleasure she felt during the last session. "He's treating me like an object," a sudden voice rang inside her mind, and she couldn't believe that it was hers. She just cannot believe she would feel so much pleasure with something like this. However, there was no trace of any of her confusion on her face. Instead, there was a big smile pinned on it. Seeing her smile, Nux confirmed something. She's a closet pervert and she doesn't even know it. He was excited, so excited due to this thought, that he increased his speed and slammed his dick inside her without any mercy. Ha! I didn't know Edda the head maid was a pervert who feels pleasure when others treat her like an object. Even if Edda wanted to retort or disagree, the pleasure she was feeling was too much, and she was too busy moaning, so she didn't reply. But seeing that wide smile on her face, she didn't look like she disagreed either. "I will make her accept her perverseness," Nux swore inwardly. His face looked very determined. Who didn't want a serious-looking but a pervert inside, big-breasted, beautiful woman? Everyone did. Nux then grabbed her butt, but then, She suddenly moaned loudly, and her walls, which were already numb due to pleasure and weren't moving much, tightened. Is her actual weak point her butt? He questioned inwardly. Wait, could it be? Suddenly he thought about a possibility. To test it out, Nux raised his hand and slap. Slapped her butt. Edda moaned in ecstasy as her walls tightened even more and the smile that was on her face widened. Nux then raised his hand again. Slap. And he slapped even harder, and this time Edda moaned even louder and her walls tightened even more. A big smile appeared on Nux's face as he confirmed his thought. She's a masochist. Slap. He spanked her butt again. Edda's pussy convulsed as she came again. This time she was very tired and didn't look like she could continue. However, just as her eyes were about to close, slap. Nux spanked her fast again, and she was jolted awake due to pleasure that coursed throughout her body. "How can you sleep while I have yet to come?" Nux snapped angrily. I am sorry." Edda's cave tightened when Nux scolded her. She didn't know why. She felt pleasure assaulting her body as he screamed at her. She really liked that feeling. Nux also smiled as he continued drilling and spanking her tired body. He used her as an object without caring about her feelings, and she relished that feeling, even though she knew that she could pass out at any moment now. She had already orgasmed around 7 to 8 times. Even though she was a cultivator, she couldn't continue anymore. Nux also sensed it as he spanked her one last time before unloading all of his milk inside her pussy. "Ugh, here, take it all." After he unloaded all his jizz inside her pussy, Edda came again and then passed out from pleasure. Another wave of energy entered Nux's body as he finally freed her hands before lying beside her and opening his stats. Name, Nux Leander. Age, 18. Mana cultivation, advance. Body cultivation, advance. Talent, medium. LVL 24 to 28. HP 700 out of 700. MP 450 out of 450. STR 64 to 72. AGL 74 to 82. VIT 62 to 70. STM 67 to 75. INT 41 to 45. DEF 61 to 69. Blank points 108 to 120. His strength increased again. Nux smiled as he saw that. He then glanced at Etta, who was lying beside her. Her breathing was calm and there was a small smile on her face. She looked like a dignified lady right now. Nux couldn't even believe that this beautiful and serious-looking woman was a perverted masochist who gets off from pain. But then he smiled as he realized that he will be the only person who will see this lovely sight. Who didn't want a serious-looking outside, but a pervert inside, big-breasted, beautiful woman who was also a masochist? Everyone did. Nux chuckled inwardly as he closed his eyes. I'm late. The next morning, Etta was roaming around the room, panicking. Oh, come on. You're a head maid, so what if you were a little late? Does it really matter? Just ask your subordinates to lie and cover for you. It doesn't work like that. Many maids are eyeing my position. I've already made an exception after leaving the duty without prior notice, and now I'm late. I'm sure there will be many maids who will take advantage of this. Nux shook his head and sighed. I guess there's competition everywhere. Then a mischievous smile appeared on his face as he replied, To be honest, I would be happy if you lose your position as a head maid. Then you could quit your job and become my maid wife. Can you even pay me as much as the royal palace do? Do you think that royal palace of yours can provide you the pleasure I can? Do you think they can tie you up and make you orgasm so many times that your whole body turns numb? Ada's face turned red, and her little sister trembled in delight as she remembered yesterday night. My little pervert. I'm not a pervert. Do you even believe what you say yourself? Yes, I do, she replied in a meek voice, clearly not very confident in herself. How about you tie my hands to the corner of the bed for the next round? Nux mimicked her words and questioned again. Do you really believe what you just said before? Ada just lowered her head and decided to ignore him. However, soon she recalled the previous problem and panicked again. I'm late. All right, don't act like this is the end of the world. Trust me, just get ready, I will make sure you return in time. Although she didn't know how he would help her, Etta decided to believe him and nodded. She then quickly washed her face before she wore her maid uniform and was ready to leave. Although you do look gorgeous in this as well, the gown you wore yesterday is still the second best, Nux complimented. Second best? What's the best then? Nux looked at her as he could not believe that she asked that, and replied, You being naked, of course, he said as a matter of fact. Etta blushed. Nux then stood up and extended his hand towards her. Etta smiled and grabbed his hand. Two of them left the inn, but rather than walking towards their carriage, Nux directly brought her outside. Why aren't we sitting in the carriage? How are we going to leave? Etta questioned with a frown. You are already late. We can't use a carriage. He then picked her up and ran towards the capital city. Etta's eyes widened in surprise when she saw his speed. What level is this? A Grand Master? No, an expert. This is absurd. The speed was so fast that she had to hold him tightly if she didn't want to fall off. Within just 15 minutes, the two of them entered the city. What stage-level cultivator are you? Etta questioned. Late level advanced stage. You don't want to tell me? You don't have to, Etta snorted. Advanced stage? Advanced stage my ass. But I'm not lying. Shouldn't you be able to sense that? Nux questioned. After a moment, Etta's eyes widened even more. Advanced stage. He was actually an advanced stage cultivator. Then how did he run that fast, if anything? I don't have time to think about this. I'm late. It was a good thing that he was strong. She would ask how he is so fast even though he is just an advanced stage cultivator later. Right now, she was late. She then quickly rushed towards the palace, but suddenly she was stopped by Nux's next question. Etta, what time are we meeting today? A small smile appeared on Etta's face as she replied, After 9 in the night. Oh, in the night? But what fun thing could we possibly do in the night? Then a perverted smile appeared on Etta's face as she replied, The night is the best time if you want to have a fun time with a woman. You really are a pervert, aren't you? Nux chuckled. Maybe I am, Etta admitted. She admitted that she might actually be a pervert. Being a head maid of the royal palace comes with its own perks. Since you are a head maid, you aren't anyone's personal maid, and you don't have to be ready to serve them 24/7. After 9 in the night, the head maid is free of her duties and is even allowed to leave the royal palace. Of course, just like Etta, most of the head maids in the past had already given their life to the palace and don't have anything to do even after they are free of their duties. Therefore, they stay just in the room that is given to them by the palace. Today, however, it was different for the current head maid of the royal palace. Just as her work ended, Etta rushed outside and left the castle. Walking a little more, she arrived at the assigned site, and a big smile appeared on her face when she saw the person she has been yearning to see for a long time standing right in front of her. As always, you look stunning, my perverted maid, Nux complimented with a smile. I am not a Thank you. Etta wanted to retort to his remark, but she soon remembered what she did last night, and just accepted the compliment, ignoring the pervert part. Seeing that she was not refusing him calling her a pervert, Nux smiled before he extended his hands towards her. Etta smiled as well, and the two then sat inside the carriage Nux booked beforehand. This time, their destination was the new Malia city. No, there is nothing special about the city. Nux just thought that he shouldn't book the same inn every day since his partner is the head maid of the royal palace. Also, he still hasn't seen many places in this world, so this was a good chance to see more. However, unlike last time, when he was very excited when he left the capital, this time his face had a solemn look. Etta wanted to question what happened, but he just raised his hand and told her to wait. Stop the carriage. As the carriage entered a deserted alleyway, Nux ordered the driver to stop. What happened? Etta questioned again. 2 master stage cultivators are following us. Both of them are stronger than you, Nux informed. He had already sensed that these 2 people were following them, more precisely Etta, as he only noticed them when Etta appeared. He did not take action, since they were still in the capital, and the person behind them might send some more later. Therefore, he waited. Waited until he reached a deserted alleyway like this one. Also, he will admit that it did feel really good acting all-knowing like those novel protagonists. Wait for me here, I will deal with them. While Etta was panicking, she heard Nux's voice. What can you do? You're just in advance. She wanted to retort, but then remembered what she did last night, and just accepted the compliment, ignoring the pervert part. Seeing that she was not refusing him calling her a pervert, Nux smiled before he extended his hands towards her. Etta smiled as well, and the two then sat inside the carriage Nux booked beforehand. This time, their destination was the new Malia city. No, there is nothing special about the city. Nux just thought that he shouldn't book the same inn every day since his partner is the head maid of the royal palace. Also, he still hasn't seen many places in this world, so this was a good chance to see more. However, unlike last time, when he was very excited when he left the capital, this time his face had a solemn look. Edda wanted to question what happened, but he just raised his hand and told her to wait. Stop the carriage. When the carriage entered a deserted alleyway, Nux ordered the driver to stop. What happened? Edda questioned again. 2 master stage cultivators are following us. Both of them are stronger than you, Nux informed. He had already sensed that these 2 people were following them, more precisely Edda, as he only noticed them when Edda appeared. He did not take action since they were still in the capital, and the person behind them might send some more later. Therefore, he waited. Waited until he reached a deserted alleyway like this one. Also, he will admit that it did feel really good acting all-knowing like those novel protagonists. Wait for me here. I will deal with them. While Edda was panicking, she heard Nux's voice. What can you do? You are just an advanced stage cultivator. She wanted to retort, but then remembered the speed he showed her this morning and decided to stay silent. She knew he was a lot stronger than a normal advanced stage cultivator. Nux then activated his conceal before he leisurely walked out of the carriage and walked into one of the houses. Then he entered a room and saw a man covered in black looking outside through a window, clearly having no idea that one of his targets is standing right behind him. Name, Colby Wilton. Age, 55. Mana cultivation, Master. Body cultivation, Mortal. Race, Human. Occupation, Assassin of Marquise Bannermain House. Talent, Medium. LVL, 36. HP, 280 of 280. MP, 390 of 390. STR, 44. AGL, 44. VIT, 46. STMY, 42. INT, 62. DEFF, 39. Bannermain House. Noting that name, he chopped the back of his neck with his hand, causing the man to lose his consciousness. Nux then reactivated his conceal and walked into another house, doing the same with another man. He noticed that he was an assassin of another house, the Hartwick House, which was also a Marquise house. He then dragged his body into the room where he dealt with another assassin before he walked towards the carriage and called Edda. Edda just couldn't believe how calmly and leisurely Dio dealt with these 2 assassins. It was as if they couldn't even see him. They are from Bannermain and Hardwick. Do you know why these 2 Marquises' houses are after you? Nux questioned. How do you know these 2 are from those houses? I am sure that they would never tell you even if they are dead, Edda questioned in shock. Nux then pointed at his golden eyes as he muttered, I can see everything with these eyes. I don't need them to tell me that. In the dark room, Nux's golden eyes shined. Edda was enchanted by their beauty and was brought back by Nux's question. So, do you know why these 2 Marquises' houses are after you? I do. These 2 houses want to get close to the royal harem through me. Nux was shocked when he heard her. Wasn't their goal similar to his? Nux felt weird when he thought about it as he muttered, You must be very loyal to the kingdom, huh? You are refusing them to the extent they even sent assassins after you. I'm sure they must have promised you some benefits before. Huh, loyal my ass. Didn't the palace provide you with everything you have right now? Shouldn't you be loyal to them?
Things aren't as simple as you think, Dio. Did I not say I don't know who my father was? That was not because he died too early. It was just that Etta didn't need to say any more. Nux also understood what she meant and stayed silent. However, a question arose in his mind. Then how'd... I just rose in ranks too quickly. My body was still not fully mature. So they decided to wait. They just failed to calculate that I would become a head maid so soon, so I was saved. And could give my first time to you, she then muttered with a small smile on her face.
And could give my first time to you, she then muttered with a small smile on her face. Hee, and thanks to that, I could get a perverted maid all for myself, Nux replied with a chuckle, and Etta blushed. So, if you are not loyal to the palace, why are you not helping them? I mean, I'm sure they must have offered you some benefits before using these methods, right? That is true, and I would have normally helped them, but I just don't get a very good feeling about their house. I had this weird feeling that tells me not to trust them, and since I was small, I have always trusted this type of feeling, Etta answered. I understand, Nux replied as he nodded continuously. At the same time, a big weight was lifted from his head. So, what do we do with them? Nux questioned. What else? Let's just burn their bodies, Etta muttered as if it was the most natural thing to do. Huh? What about the loot? Loot? Yeah, won't you take the things that belong to them? You didn't even check their storage ring. Why would I do that? So that we don't waste resources. You really are a merchant, huh? No, I'm just a perfectly logical man. Nux wanted to scream, but he just smiled. He then took their storage rings and his eyes widened in disbelief. A 3-star sword and 2 3-star daggers. What kind of rich assassins were they? One had to know that a 3-star armor was a family treasure of a viscount. Nux then showed the weapons to Etta, and seeing the normal look on her face, he knew these weapons were not as rare as he thought. No, maybe a person who spent her entire life in the royal palace has a weird perception. Nux nodded to himself before he stored the weapons and the money he got in his inventory. He also kept the storage rings in his pocket. Yes, since the inventory and the storage rings were both space-related things, the storage rings couldn't be stored in the inventory. Etta then slit the 2 assassins' throats and then burned their bodies. Nux thought that the scene might disturb him, but was surprised that he didn't feel anything at all. Then he thought that it may be because he got used to blood when he was in the wilderness and shrugged. It was a good thing. He knows that he has to get used to blood, and even killing humans with his own hands. He has still not killed any human, and has decided to avoid it till it was required. He is not a bloodthirsty, brawny man who is out for blood. He is a refined man who would not kill unless it is required. As Etta dealt with the bodies professionally, the 2 of them then entered the carriage as it drove to the new Malia city. The new view in and inside a room. Right now, Nux was standing inside the room waiting for Etta to return from the bathroom. Since she directly came to him right after her duty ended, she was still sweaty, and she requested to take a bath before they started their blissful night. Nux told her it was okay, but she was adamant about it and quickly walked towards the bathroom. Nux then shook his head in defeat as he walked into the room and waited for her obediently. Half an hour later, Etta, whose hair was still wet, entered the room wearing a white-colored bathrobe. Her cleavage was completely visible, and the loose bathrobe did nothing to hide her perfect hourglass figure. Her white-pink wet hair combined with her tan skin looked very appealing. Seeing her standing at the door with a blush on her face, Nux couldn't control himself any longer and quickly walked towards her. This might be your new second-best look, wearing the loose bathrobe combined with wet hair. Look how enchanting you look. He then quickly pulled her closer to him as he complimented her. What is the best? Oh, yes.
Etta wanted to question what her best look was, if this was the second best, but then she quickly remembered what he told her last night and stayed silent with a blush. Nux smiled, seeing her acting all shy. He couldn't control himself any longer and quickly sealed her lips with his own. Her lips were still a little cold and wet since she had just taken a bath. This further improved the pleasure Nux felt as he sucked her juicy lips greedily. Her sweet scent combined with the soapy scent assaulted his nose as he pulled her even closer. Etta too sucked on his lips without thinking anything else. His strong embrace felt safe to her. She sucked his lower lip when he sucked her upper one, and then shifts to the upper one when he sucks her lower lip. The more she kissed, the better she felt. Finally, she couldn't control herself any longer, and her tongue entered his mouth to find its prey. Finding it in an instant, Etta's tongue attacked Nux's tongue that was already prepared to receive the attack, as the two tongues mingled together. While they shared a deep kiss, Nux's hands moved towards her butt before he grabbed them roughly. This sent a jolt of pleasure into Etta's body, causing her tongue to lose its advantage and fell into an unfavorable position. Seeing his method working, Nux continued kneading her butt roughly, sending jolts and jolts of pleasure into her body. Under the assault, Etta's tongue couldn't fight any longer and was quickly subdued by his tongue. Satisfied with his victory, Nux ended the kiss as he picked her up before walking into the room and placing her on the bed. He then lay on top of her, and just as he was about to seal her lips again, her voice sounded. "Wait. Huh? What happened?" Nux questioned with curiosity. Suddenly, ropes appeared in Etta's hands, and she replied with a blush, "How about you tie all my limbs to the corner of the bed today?"
How about you tie all my limbs to the corner of the bed today? Nux was dumbfounded. After all that serious talk about her father and how things work in the royal palace, combined with how this woman was blushing in front of him just a few minutes ago, Nux somehow forgot how big of a pervert this woman is. Seeing that this woman even prepared the ropes beforehand, Nux couldn't help but shake his head. This woman is unredeemable, a completely lost cause. What a perverted fellow! Nux shook his head again. It seems like he would not have to use the ropes he brought today. Did he bring the ropes? Of course he brought them. He might have forgotten about her being a pervert due to all their talks before, but he had still planned to make Etta accept her perverted nature openly and make her completely his. Who wouldn't want a beautiful, serious-looking outside, but actually a perverted masochist inside, big-breasted woman all for themselves? Nux for sure did. An evil smile appeared on his face as he grabbed the ropes. I was looking forward to how long can you hide that perverted nature of yours, but it seems that you can't do it for very long. Etta blushed a little, but when she felt her right hand being tied to the pole on the corner of the bed, her heart started beating quickly. Nux then tightened the ropes to the limit, and Etta felt a weird jolt of pleasure being released into her body. Her heartbeat then quickened even more when her left hand was tied to the other pole. A few minutes later, when all her limbs were tied to every corner of the bed, Etta was breathing heavily with a red face and a weird smile on her face. "Tisk, tisk, look how happy you look, you perverted masochist!" Nux then roughly removed her robe bath, revealing her tanned and untanned body. Her milky white breasts moved up and down as she breathed even more heavily. This woman wasn't wearing anything under her robe bath, meaning that right now she was completely naked. Nux felt his soldier twitching a little, but he controlled himself for the greater good and glanced at her little sister. Since her legs were tied to the two corners of the bed, her pink cave had nowhere to hide if she wanted to. When Etta felt his gaze on her vagina, she tried to close her legs, but since her legs were tied, she couldn't. Her breathing turned even heavier, and her smile widened as well. Nux saw her juices leaking uncontrollably. Then, without giving her any prior warning, he plunged his index, middle, and ring finger inside her pussy. Without waiting, Nux's 3 fingers assaulted her weak points roughly, creating a mess inside her walls. Etta's body was already very sensitive when he tied her like that. Her pussy had already started twitching when she felt Nux's gaze on it. Combining all this with his 3 fingers entering and creating havoc inside her insides, the pleasure she felt soared uncontrollably, and she moaned without stop. Tisk, tisk. Look how you are moaning like a slut. A serious and elegant head maid? More like a slut in heat. Nux felt her canals tightening as he said these words. He quickened his fingers' movement and her back arched up. After enjoying the feeling of her squishy walls tightening around his rod, Nux started moving his drilling without caring how Etta felt. His pace quickened as his hips moved back and forth at a very high speed. Although Nux didn't care how Etta felt, the woman was already moaning uncontrollably as waves and waves of pleasure assaulted her body. Her mind was turning numb for pleasure. However, before she could lose her mind completely, Pat. She was jolted awake as Nux slapped her breast. Then she felt Nux's movement slowing down before it turned frustratingly slow. She glanced at Nux, and seeing her smile that was filled with contempt and mockery, her heart raced. She then saw him opening his mouth as he questioned, "Hey, Etta, how about you become my personal pleasure toy? A mere object whose sole purpose of existence is to satisfy all my sexual needs. How about it?" "Hey, Etta, how about you become my personal pleasure toy? A mere object whose sole purpose of existence is to satisfy all my sexual needs. How about it?" Etta's whole body twitched weirdly when she heard his words, but before she could think what to answer, Nux started increasing his speed again. However, the rate at which his speed was growing was very slow. This filled her with a sense of frustration and anticipation. Pat. Soon, however, her mind was jolted awake as Nux slapped her nipple again. A weird pleasure assaulted her body, but before she could relish it, she heard his voice. "Huh? Do you think you can keep me waiting? Answer me quick. Are you willing to be my pleasure toy?" Etta wanted to stay silent, but then she felt Nuke's dick moving out of her cave. Looking at his expression, it looked like he was really about to pull out his dick and end this session if she did not answer his question. He only wanted an answer, and a positive one at that. He did not care about her feelings at all. Being treated like that, Etta's pussy twitched again. She didn't know what was happening and was unable to understand her own body, but she knew one thing. This man, standing right in front of her, was perfect for her. A perfect partner. And a perfect master. As if having a will on its own, her mouth opened and... "Yes. I am... willing to be... your pleasure toy." Good. An evil smile appeared on Nuke's face as he rammed his dick into her pussy. Her pussy walls convulsed uncontrollably, and with just one thrust, she squirted and drenched Nukes with her juices. Ugh.
The unusual tightness amplified the pleasure he felt. His hips twitched in pleasure and his milk burst out, painting her walls white. Nukes then pulled out his dick as another wave of energy entered his body. He, however, did not care about it. His weapon was still hard. He wanted to enter her pussy again, but when he glanced at her body tied that way, he knew he could do anything he sees fit to her and won't face any resistance. Then his eyes fell on her milky breasts moving up and down as she breathed heavily. An evil thought then appeared in his mind. He then crawled towards her breasts before he sat on her waist and placed his dick on her right breast. When Edda saw the smile he had on her face, her body twitched in anticipation of what is about to come, and she couldn't help but look forward to it. Nukes then slides his dick into her cleavage before pressing her two large mounds of flesh on his dick. Ugh! Ugh! Nukes grunted in pleasure as his back arched a little. After he got used to the soft sensation that surrounded his rod, he started moving his hips back and forth. And waves after waves of pleasure assaulted his body. This feels too good! Nukes moaned in delight as his speed increased. He then tried tilting his body and his dick's head rubbed on her left upper boob. Edda, your breasts feel too good! Nukes complained in delight. Another idea welled inside his mind as he quickly moved his hands from her breasts to her erect nipples. Ah! Ah! He pulled her nipples roughly, and a weird wave of pain and pleasure assaulted her already sensitive body. Nukes, however, didn't care about it. He started rubbing her two nipples together and smiled. He looked like a curious kid who got something to play with and was doing all sorts of experiments with it. Ah! Ah! Nukes continued moaning in pleasure. His moans filled Nukes with satisfaction. Then he joined her two nipples and grabbed them with his right hand as he kept thrusting. Pat, pat, pat. Ah! 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 With his left hand now free, he started slapping her big breasts, making Edda moan in ecstasy. Her little sister, that was already numb in pleasure, started releasing her juices again. An unbearable tickling sensation welled inside her pussy, but since her legs were tied, she couldn't close her thighs to control it. With her pussy lying bare, cold air assaulted it, amplifying the tickling sensation. A perverted smile appeared on her face as she started moving in what little ways her body can move. A few minutes later, Nukes too felt that he was about to come. He released her nipples and grabbed her breasts, mushing them towards his dick tightly, and he then strengthened his thrusts. Ah! 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 The pleasure overwhelmed his thoughts. His dick twitched before he released all his fresh jizz all over Edda's breasts and face. With her tied hands, Edda couldn't do anything to clean the jizz that was on her face. She moved her tongue to clean the milk that was around her mouth, but was helpless with the places where her tongue couldn't reach. Powerless to do anything, she glanced at Nukes, who was smiling at her. When he noticed her gaze, his smile widened even more as he replied, "Consider this your master's first gift to you. I will not allow you to clean my milk from your face for the entire night. This will constantly remind you of your position as my personnel pleasure toy." His words caused her pussy to twitch, and a perverted smile appeared on her face as she nodded. Nukes then moved closer to her face before he placed his huge dick, which was drenched in his cum, in front of her mouth as he ordered, "Now kiss your master's cock to show your undying submission and pure devotion." As if hypnotized by his words, Edda lifted her head as she moved her lips forward, planting a soft kiss on Nukes' dick. A satisfied smile appeared on Nukes' face as he ordered again, "Now lick it clean." Edda did as she was told and started licking his rod as if it was the most delicious thing in the world. His half-erect dick stood up again, and when she was done with her cleaning, Nukes moved towards her already tired pussy and rammed his cock inside.
Ugh! Ugh! A huge amount of energy entered Nux' body as he came inside Edda's already numbed pussy 5th time. His eyes then fell on Edda, who had finally passed out, and he smiled. He came a total of 6 times today. As for Edda, she lost count on how many times she came, but it was well above 10. This was very easily the most blissful night she had. After around 8 orgasms, her little sister was so sensitive that with just a few thrusts, she would come again. With her hands and legs tied, she had no way to resist Nux' advance, and couldn't help but continue taking in all his merciless drilling. In the end, she couldn't even think. She just moaned and moaned while her body did whatever Nux commanded, as if it was a divine order. Finally, after Nux unloaded another load of fresh milk inside her, she couldn't take it anymore and passed out. Of course, after coming 6 times, Nux was tired as well, and even though his eyes noticed some new things, they felt heavy and closed down as Nux entered the dreamland. The next day, after dropping Edda in front of the royal palace, Nux quickly returned to Felberta's mansion. He then took a nice bath before he returned to his room as he sat on his bed inside. Status: congratulations to the host for rising to a master stage mana cultivator from an advanced stage mana cultivator. INT +10. Blank points +20. Congratulations to the host for rising to a master stage body cultivator from an advanced stage body cultivator. STR +5. AGL +5. VIT +5. STM +5. DEF +5. Blank points +10. Harem seal unlocked. Slave seal unlocked. Name: Nux Leander. Age: 18. Mana cultivation: Master. Body cultivation: Master. Talent: Medium. LVL: 28 to 30. HP: 790/790. MP: 570/570. STR: 72/81. AGL: 82/91. VIT: 70/79. STM: 75/84. INT: 45/57. DEF: 69/78. Blank points: 120/156. Ability: Craving Touch. Eye of Discerning. Conceal. Sense. Professional Killer. Harem Seal. Slave Seal. Several messages popped up in front of him. However, he ignored them all as his eyes fell on his 2 new abilities. As if understanding his intent, a screen containing the description of these abilities appeared in front of his eyes, and Nux couldn't help but widen his eyes in shock. Slave Seal. Active Skill. Condition to apply. The target has to agree to become the host's slave. It will not matter if the target changes his or her decision later. The slave seal can only be removed by the target if the target's MP is 10 times higher than the host's. The host can remove the slave seal whenever he wants. Effects: once a slave seal is used on a target, he or she will be unable to resist the host's commands, no matter what the commands are. If the target even thinks about betraying the host, intense pain will assault his or her body until he stops thinking about it. If he does not, the pain will keep on increasing continuously. The target will not die under this pain. The host can talk to the targets no matter how far they are. Harem Seal. Condition to apply.
The target has to agree to become the host's woman wholeheartedly. If she changes her decision later, the harem seal will be removed. The host can also remove the harem seal whenever he wants. Effects: once a harem seal is used on a target, the host and the harem member can feel each other's emotions to a certain extent. The host can disable and disable this function anytime he wants. The harem members will gain resistance to curses or debuffs, and until the curse caster's MP is 2 times higher than the host, the curse or debuff will not work. The host will be able to talk to the harem members no matter how far they are. This is so amazing. The more Nux read about these abilities, the wider his smile got. These abilities are the perfect solution to the thing that worries Nux the most, the craving touch, his own ability. Nux does not like the fact that his women would turn into some sort of dick-craving sluts if he isn't there for them for a while. Although having sex with them improves this a lot, it is still not the perfect solution. Nux has been trying to find some sort of ability or cultivation technique to resist it, but he couldn't. But now the system gave it to him itself. What a good system he has. Then he rushed towards Felberta's office and barged into it. Question? Joyab frowned when he saw his attitude, but when he remembered how he defeated him so quickly in the past, he knew that he couldn't do anything against him and shook his head in disappointment. However, this time, even Felberta was just as confused as him. She knew that Nux wouldn't do something like barging into her office while she's working without any reason, but when she saw the excited look on his face, she sighed as she realized that it wasn't something bad. However, she still looked forward to what made him so excited that he directly rushed into her office without caring about anything. Nux didn't know what was going on in their mind. Right now he was so excited that he even forgot that these were office hours, else he would have surely waited a few more hours before coming here. Nux then walked towards Felberta as he placed his hand on her table, looked into her eyes, and questioned. Felberta Alve, are you willing to be my woman with all your heart?
Felberta Alvi, are you willing to be my woman with all your heart? You bastard! Joyab was about to burst out in rage when he heard what Nux said. However, Felberta raised her hand, signaling him to stop. Joyab, we will have an early break today, Viscount Felberta commanded. But, Viscount! Joyab, we will have an early break today, Viscount repeated. Her tone was stricter than before. Joyab gritted his teeth before he glared at Nux, who from the moment he entered the room treated him like air. Joyab then bowed before he left the office. However, he was very disappointed. He had no clue what kind of magic that boy toy had done on the Viscount. Not only that, now he had even dared to say something so outrageous to her face. How dare he? Willing to be my woman? You are nothing but a boy toy. However, he knew that he wasn't strong enough to face him. Not only that, when he left the room, he noticed the change in that boy's aura. He was a master stage cultivator now. An 18-year-old master stage cultivator was already a genius level. What would happen if the people knew that he was just a mere mortal 2 months ago? They might die due to shock. Now that he thinks about it, that boy is indeed a suitable man for the Viscount. He is handsome, he is powerful, and most importantly, he has monstrous potential. When he thought about it, Joyab felt a little better in his heart, and he walked into his room. On the other side, Nux sat on Felberta's chair with her sitting on his lap as he questioned again. Now that the hindrance is gone, let me ask you again, Felberta Alvi, are you willing to be my woman with all your heart? I am. Even though she was confused about what was happening, Felberta did not think too much and answered honestly. Good. Suddenly she felt peculiar energy entering her body. Though she felt the same feeling as how she gained strength after their session, she knew it was something different. Soon, the energy merged with her body. Although she felt something change inside her, she wasn't sure what it was. How is it? Suddenly, she heard Nux's voice in her head. She turned toward him and noticed that his mouth wasn't moving, but she could still hear his voice in her head. Does it feel weird hearing my voice even though my mouth isn't moving? Nux questioned jokingly, and Felberta nodded. You can do it as well. Try talking to me. Nux replied, Hello,
Don't open your mouth, you dumbo. Try talking in your mind while thinking about me, Nux explained in the best way he could. For him, using his every ability is as easy as using his limbs. He did not know about others, but he guessed that it shouldn't be that hard. Hello, Nux? Can you hear me? His thoughts were proven right when he heard Fell's sweet voice in his mind. He smiled as he replied, Yes, my darling Fell, I can hear you loud and clear. Well, what is happening? How can we talk like this? Felberta questioned in surprise. Don't worry, I will explain everything in a while. He then glanced at a certain area as he called, You two, come out. I have something important to discuss. Skyla and Lane then appeared in front of him. Nux smiled as he asked the same question again. Skyla Hale, Lane Wine, are you two willing to be my women with all your heart? Yes, I am. The two of them replied simultaneously and felt the same energy that entered Felberta's body entering their body. It took Nux half an hour to explain to the three of them about his newly gained ability. He also told them about his slave seal ability. Lane offered to test it out, but Nux rejected her without any second thoughts. However, he trusts his system a lot. He was still scared about testing a dangerous ability like the slave seal on her. Then he made them practice all his active abilities and helped them whenever they needed. Within the next hour, his women were capable of using Eye of Discerning, Conceal, and Sense without any problems. Nux smiled in contentment as he saw that. This harem seal is great. Now that the girls can use his abilities, they would be a lot safer than before. Especially with the Conceal, which can easily save their lives. Just how cool is that? Not only the ability to share, even the ability with which they can talk with each other no matter the distance is really helpful. Just imagine how easy information transfer will be in the future. Oh, right, I completely forgot about it. Fell, how much do you know about Bannermain and Hardwick House? After their training ended, Nux questioned. Hearing his words, Felberta's face turned serious as she questioned back. Why are you asking about them? They sent assassins after Edda because she rejected cooperating with them in their plan, and before you ask, I'll tell you that she and I don't know what their plan is. This isn't an information a normal vice count should have, but I'll tell you about it. Wait, before you start, let me ask, since I always forget to ask this question. Why do you know something a normal vice count shouldn't know? 'Cause I'm special. Of course. My darling Fell, I know you're special. You're very special to me. But my question is, why do you know something a normal vice count shouldn't know? What is it that you are hiding from me?
What is it that you are hiding from me? Nux questioned as his golden eyes shined. Why would I hide anything from you? The only reason I know of some inside information is that I am the part of the 1,000 information chamber. Felberta easily revealed what others would label as high-class certified information. The 1,000 information chamber? What is that? As the name suggests, it is an information association. Nobody knows where its headquarters are or who the leader is. However, everyone who knows about the 1,000 information chamber also knows that if they want any sort of information, the chamber would have it. This was Felberta's trump card. This is the reason why she survived as a beautiful, lonely MILF without being targeted by others. She could easily find anything about anyone in this kingdom and could destroy him or her, and all this was just when she is just a mere member of the chamber. She didn't know the benefits the higher-ups receive, but she didn't care either. She was happy where she was. She wasn't that power-hungry. Just let her live in peace, and she will live without disturbing anyone. Now, however, the things are different. Now she was with Nux, whose goals were, well, too high and ambitious. Then how did you join this information chamber? Nux questioned. I did not join them. I was invited by them. Marquise Everly, who should be a higher-up in the chamber, invited me. That should be a classified information, right? What? Marquise Everly or whatever being a higher-up in the chambers? Well, yeah, that, and the whole mention of the 1,000 information chamber is a classified information.
Oh. Nux nodded. Then a serious look appeared on his face as he questioned, "Can it be traced back at you if you find the information about the Bannermain and Hardwick house?" "Every time I search for information, it can be traced back to me. This time, however, you don't have to worry about it. I had to pass this information to someone else a few months ago, so I don't need to search for anything about it. I already know about these two houses. However, I don't have any proof. No, actually, even the chamber doesn't have any proof." "What? Even the chamber doesn't? Damn, they must be some big shots, huh?" "Well, that might be true, but according to the chamber, they are nothing but fools. However, they are dangerous fools. I suggest you do not go against them." "Why is that?" "According to the information gained by the chamber, these two noble houses are spies that belong to another kingdom. Their forces are a lot stronger than normal marquises, and the two of them plan to start a rebellion to usurp the throne. Of course, since the kingdom doesn't have any proof, they can't do anything to them. That is the reason the chamber called them fools. If the king could be overthrown by some marquise, he would have long died. However, their strength and the support they have from the other kingdom make them dangerous fools," Felberta replied with a solemn look. Looks like Edda has some troublesome opponents," Nux sighed as he shook his head. "No, not really. Edda is the head maid of the palace. Though it might not seem like much, inside the royal palace, even a duke won't be able to harm her." "What?" "Of course. Why else do you think she is alive after rejecting the two marquises? That's because she never leaves. However, things are not the same as before. You two can't continue your sessions in the palace, so you would have to leave the place, and as long as you leave, the Bannermain and Hardwick house won't let you two off." There was a trace of worry on her face, but when she remembered how strong Nux is right now, combining it with his conceal, she calmed down. The strongest force in a marquise's house is an initial stage Grand Master. Even if they are stronger than a normal marquise house, the best they would have is a late stage Grand Master, which is already very unlikely. The expert stage is at the level of the dukes, so they shouldn't have an expert in their ranks. However, even if they have an expert stage cultivator as their strongest, they wouldn't send him or her to deal with Edda just because a normal assassin failed. As for a master or grandmaster stage cultivator, Nux could already defeat them when he was at the advanced stage. Defeating a grandmaster stage cultivator would be even simpler since he had risen to the master stage. That won't be a problem. I will meet her again tonight. At the very best, they will send a few more assassins. I'll deal with them today, and later when I put the harem seal on Edda, she would be able to use my conceal and we won't face any major problems." Nux thought the same way as Felberta. As for the two houses planning to go against the kingdom, he couldn't care less about it.
After spending the rest of the blissful day with Skyla, Lane, and Fel, Nux activated his conceal as he left the mansion. He then walked towards the royal palace. He was extra careful on his way and had already activated his sense. Although Edda and he had decided to meet at a certain point, he scratched that idea and directly walked towards the royal palace. Edda was his woman now. There is no way he is going to let someone hurt her. He appeared in front of the gates and waited for Edda to leave. 15 minutes later, Edda left the palace wearing her maid uniform and with a serious look on her face. Nux compared that face with the one she had yesterday when she was tied up and couldn't help but chuckle. He felt happy that he was the only one who could see her hidden, perverted side. He then used his sense and found that there wasn't anyone following Edda. He sighed and followed Edda all the way to the meeting point before appearing in front of her. "You are making me repeat myself, huh?" Nux sighed as he glanced at her. "You look really stunning. My perverted maid." "It's you who made me a pervert," Edda replied with a smile on her face. Unlike last time, she readily accepted her identity as a pervert without any resistance this time. To be honest, she didn't care about it now either. The pleasure she felt yesterday when she accepted being his pleasure toy was so out of this world that she would do anything to experience that again. Not only that, this man treats her so well, even though he was her pleasure toy, that she has nothing to complain about. She was really happy and thankful to the god that she met him. Let's go? Nux then extended his hand forward just like he had the first day she met her. Why do you still treat me like that? Edda questioned with a confused look. What do you mean? Why do you treat me all gentlemanly like that? Because you're my woman. Woman? But didn't you say that I was your pleasure toy? Edda replied with a deep blush. Nux blinked his eyes in shock before he laughed out loud. Why are you laughing? Ha ha ha! Nux did not bother replying and continued laughing. After laughing for a good 3 minutes, he calmed down before he moved towards Edda as he raised her chin seductively, and replied, My perverted maid. I just like to be gentlemanly with my pleasure toy as well. Do you have any complaints about it? Edda's heartbeat quickened as she replied meekly, No. Good. Nux then grabbed her hand as the two of them entered the carriage Nux had prepared beforehand, before they left the capital city. Inside the carriage, a serious look appeared on Nux's face as he grabbed her hand and questioned, Edda Osborne, are you willing to be my woman with all your heart? I am already your object. I belong to you. Her weird answer was somehow accepted as a yes by the system, and a mysterious energy entered Edda's body. What is that? Don't worry, I'll explain everything, one by one. She heard Nux's voice directly into her mind, and she jerked in surprise. On the other side, in a hall that was a lot bigger than the one in Felberda's mansion, 2 men, one with blonde hair, a handsome face, wearing black robes with brown-colored patterns, and the other with silver hair, equally or even more handsome face, wearing pure-looking white-colored robes with golden patterns, were sitting on 2 thrones side by side, indicating that they had the same status. These 2 were Heath Hardwick and Alger Bannermane, respectively. A woman was wearing skin-tight black clothes that covered all of her body and a mask that concealed her face, kneeling in front of them, seemingly reporting something. So, can you tell me why that bitch, Edda, isn't dead yet? The silver-haired man, Alger Bannermane, questioned. Yes, what happened to 8 and 9? Why haven't they reported back yet? We can't find any traces of 8 and 9. We checked our secret meeting place as well, but they're not in there either. I believe they are either killed or captured. Captured? Alger shouted in surprise. There was a tinge of fear on his face. The woman frowned when she saw his behavior, but her face returned to normal and she continued. Don't worry, Marquise Alger. Even if they are captured, we have trained them to not say anything else. They will kill themselves the moment they get the chance. The Marquis finally sighed of relief when he heard those words. As for caring about his subordinate's life, what villain does that? Never read anything like that. Suddenly, Heath Hardwick frowned as he questioned. That Edda is a master stage cultivator. 8 and 9 are both master stage cultivators as well. Even if they can't beat her for some reason, running away shouldn't be a problem. How were they defeated? Is someone helping her? Alger's eyes widened as well, and he clapped his hand, and a man wearing a black coat over a white shirt appeared. Greetings, Marquise Alger. Who was the person traveling with Edda? Marquise Alger. He is the leader of some sort of merchant company that comes from Wood's dynasty and is here to sell some items. I don't care about his company or whatever. What is his name? Dio Brando. Dio Brando. How strong is he? Not that strong. He is only an advanced stage cultivator. However, he looks younger than 20. Even if that is not his actual age, he shouldn't be older than 30, so he must be highly talented, the butler answered. It doesn't matter how talented he is. He can't help Edda if she is surrounded by 2 master stage cultivators, which means there is someone else helping her. Is that person from the royal palace? To defeat 2 Master Stage cultivators, a Grand Master Stage cultivator is required. Although the Royal Palace has a lot of those, they are still considered elites. The Royal Palace won't send an elite to protect a mere head maid, Heth muttered. Then do you think that Dio is strong enough to defeat 8 and 9? Alger questioned. Huh, don't joke. How can an advanced stage cultivator fight against a master stage cultivator? I believe it is someone protecting that man behind the scenes, and he protected that bitch just because it was convenient, Heth answered. Alger nodded at his answer, finding it quite logical. He then glanced at his butler and ordered him, "Search this man called Dio. I want to know everything about him by tomorrow. Don't miss anything out." "As you command, Marquis Alger." The butler bowed in agreement. "All right, since the discussions are over, I will be taking my leave." Suddenly, the woman in black stood up and left the hall without waiting for their approval. When Heth and Alger saw how rude her behavior was, their lips twitched in frustration. However, they could only grit their teeth in frustration. They can't do anything else to this rude woman. If they could, they would have already raped her a few times before killing her brutally. Although it might look like they were the leaders here, they had no right to control or order her around. They can just make a request. If she feels like it, she will do it, or else she will ignore them completely. This woman works for the kingdom that supports them, and she only takes order from that kingdom. Not only that, the 2 of them believe that this woman reports everything they do to the kingdom and keeps an eye on them. The moment the 2 of them try to do anything funny against the kingdom, they would know about it, and the 2 of them will be easily dealt with. Alger sighed in frustration, and then shook his head in defeat. Name, Nux Leander. Age, 18. Mana cultivation, Master. Body cultivation, Master. Talent, Medium. Level, 30 to 31. HP, 810, 810. MP, 580, 580. STR, 81 to 83. AGL, 91 to 93. VIT, 79 to 81. STM, 84 to 86. INT, 57 to 58. DEFF, 78 to 80. Blank points, 156 to 159. Ability, Craving Touch, Eye of Discerning, Conceal, Sense, Professional Killer, Harem Seal, Slave Seal. Harem members, Felberta Alvi, Skyla Hale, Lane Wine, Edda Osborne. Slaves, none. The next morning, Nux smiled when he saw his status again. He then glanced at Edda, who was wearing her uniform in rush. Just like usual, the 2 of them were late, and Nux will have to carry her and run to the royal capital. "Let's go." After wearing her clothes, Edda exclaimed before she extended both of her hands towards Nux. Nux chuckled when he saw her acting like that, before he picked her up, and the 2 of them checked out of the inn. Nux then ran towards the royal capital, and within 15 minutes, the 2 of them were in front of the gates. Of course, Nux wasn't carrying her in his arms anymore, and the 2 of them were walking hand in hand. When the guard's eyes fell on the 2 of them, he couldn't help but shake his head. "It seems that our lovely head maid finally found someone for her, huh?" he muttered as he glanced at Nux, before looking at Edda. "No, you got it completely wrong, Brock. There's nothing like that between us." "Reapply. Please, Mr. Dio. Do you think I am a 10-year-old kid you can fool that easily?
It's the third time you guys have spent your night out together. I know you've already stolen our head maid's heart. Don't try to deny it. Oh, come on. You know I'm a merchant, right? I just have to show her a few of my items so I can get her approval and sell them to the royal harem. Huh? What kind of items are these that you can only show them at the night? Why not do it in the morning? And why would you leave the city? Why not do it here? My items are kept in different cities for safety purposes. As for the items, they are indeed the items that can only be shown at the night. Nux replied with a weird smile. Brock's mouth twitched when he noticed his tone, and just as he was about to let them go, Nux's next words sounded. Not only that, Miss Etta really likes my items as well, right, Miss Etta? Yes, I do like your items, Mr. Dio, Etta replied with a profound look. Brock's mouth twitched even more when he heard the two of them. Since he couldn't take it anymore, he shook his head in frustration and exclaimed, "Oh, yeah, whatever. Just pay the entry fees and get in. Don't let others wait." Nux smiled gently as he paid the entry fees and the two of them entered the city.
"Did you look for what I ordered you to?" Marquise Alger questioned his butler. "Report. I have searched everything about the man named Dio Brando, but wasn't able to find anything. All the information about him is just recent. It was as if he was just born a few days ago," the butler replied in a confident tone. Hearing the undesired answer, but noticing the confident tone of his subordinate, the Marquise knew something was up and signaled him to keep going. "Continue." "I then sent someone to the Woods Dynasty and learned that there is no company named Brando Merchant Company there. With that, I was sure that his name was a fake one. Then I had some men draw what he looked like and found out that his actual name was Nux Leander, who is also Viscount Felberta's boy toy. I even found out that the two of them were very close and were most definitely not the normal master and boy toy." This Nux guy is quite lucky, huh? Not only that bitch Etta, he even has that Felberta with him." "That is correct, Marquise Alger." Viscount Felberta. Isn't she the one who is connected with the 1,000 Information Chamber?" "Yes, that is correct." The butler nodded. The headmaid Etta, the Viscount Felberta, who has connections with the 1,000 Information Chamber, are they planning to somehow expose me? Are they laying a trap? Marquise's face turned solemn. After pondering for a while, although unwilling, he decided to use his trump card. "Call one," Marquise Alger ordered. Even his butler's face turned solemn when he heard him. A maid then left the hall and walked in a certain direction. The further she walked, the darker the place get. Soon she appeared in front of a simple wooden door, and she knocked. Knock, knock, knock. "Marquise Alger has called for Miss One." Without waiting for any response, the maid directly revealed her purpose of coming here before she walked away. From how indifferent her face was, it was clear that she has done it quite a few times. However, when one would look at her closely, they would notice that her hands were trembling. No matter how many times she comes here, the creepy vibes surrounding this place, she would never get used to it. She rushed into the hall, and when she saw the light, her beating heart calmed down, and she took a deep breath. A few minutes later, a woman wearing skin-tight black-colored clothes walked into the hall. Yes, she was One, the woman who was kneeling in front of Alger and Heath yesterday, and also their trump card in this kingdom. "One, I want you to help me with this." He then told her everything he knew about Etta, Nux, and Felberta, and requested, "I want you to kill that Felberta and capture her boy toy. With him we can lure Etta out and then deal with her as well. That will be 3 birds with 1 arrow." "Huh? You want me to deal with a master stage and advanced stage and a mere mortal? So you are telling me that you can't even deal with this pathetic group of people by yourself?" A strict and disdainful voice was heard. "That is not the case.
I don't need you to go there personally. I just want you to send your team. Or are you telling me that your team isn't even capable of doing something so simple as dealing with these bunch of losers?" Alger smirked disdainfully. "Huh! Don't try acting smart in front of me. I know very well what you are thinking about." One snorted, but she knew she couldn't go against him. Although she wasn't required to accept his requests, Felberta wasn't a simple woman, and if the headmaid and Felberta are trying to expose them, this might affect her kingdom's plans. Therefore, she decided to help him. "All right, I'll send 4, 5, 6, and 7 to deal with them." "Huh? Why not send 3 as well?" Alger questioned with a frown. "You want a Grand Master to go deal with an advanced stage cultivator? But isn't Viscount Felberta's butler a master stage cultivator?" "Huh! Him? The person who has never even seen blood all his life is no better than that advanced stage cultivator. Don't worry, even sending 4 peak master stage cultivators is overkill for them." One snorted before she walked out of the hall. What a bitch! I hope that one day you will lose the kingdom's support and I can do whatever I please with you." Alger snorted inwardly. He always fantasized about raping her while she begs for mercy. Of course, he knew full well that his wish would never come true. One is very loyal to the kingdom. She is so loyal that she is even willing to die for it. Therefore, the kingdom will never take away its trust and support from her. And even if he was lucky, and somehow the kingdom decides to take away its support, he won't be able to do anything to her, since she is a lot stronger than him. Although they were both Grand Master Realm cultivators, she could easily defeat 2 of him without any problems. That is how wide the gap between them was. However, no matter how impossible it was, there was one way to make it possible. And that was in his dreams. Therefore, he always dreams about it and relishes how it feels. A man can always dream. Don't judge. Alger then shook his head in disappointment before he walked into his beloved wife's room. At the moment, Nux was having dinner and was accompanied by 3 beauties, Skyla, Lane, and Fel. The 3 of them were taking turns feeding. He could even feel some sparks flying around when their eyes met. This caused him to have a wide smile on his face, a smile that was filled with immense satisfaction and contentment. He was living the life we guys can only be jealous of, and he was enjoying it thoroughly. Huh? A few minutes later, however, his brows furrowed as he glanced at the wall. It was as if his gaze pierced through the wall and he could see what others could not. Nux's sense activated, and he saw 4 strangers lurking and hiding around Felberta's mansion. Assassins. A thought appeared in his mind, and he activated his Eye of Discerning, and their information appeared in front of him. Name, Nash Reeve. Age, 51. Mana Cultivation, Master. Body Cultivation, Mortal. Race, Human. Occupation, Assassin of Marquess Benormain House. Talent, Medium. Level, 36. HP, 460 by 460. MP, 620 by 620. STR 45. AGL 46. VIT 46. STM 41. INT 62. DEF 40. Name, Lona Wilk. Age, 46. Mana Cultivation, Master. Body Cultivation, Mortal. Race, Human. Occupation, Assassin of Marquess Benormain House. Talent, Medium. Level, 37. HP, 480 by 480. MP, 630 by 630. STR, 45. AGL, 47. VIT, 48. STM, 48. INT, 63. DEF 41. Name: Aldora Horn. Age: 48. Mana cultivation: Master. Body cultivation: Mortal. Race: Human. Occupation: Assassin of Marquess Benormain House. Talent: Medium. Level: 37. HP: 470 by 470. MP: 640 by 640. STR: 46. AGL: 48. VIT: 47. STM: 48. INT: 64. DEF: 42. Name: Ash Winter. Age: 47. Mana cultivation: Master. Body cultivation: Mortal. Race: Human. Occupation: Assassin of Marquess Benormain House. Talent: Medium. Level: 38. HP: 490 by 490. MP: 640 by 640. STR: 47. AGL: 49. VIT: 49. STM: 49. INT: 64. DEF: 41. Benormain House again. That house is getting on my nerve now, Nux thought inwardly before he contacted Etta. My perverted maid, huh? Oh, Dio, what happened? Why did you contact me? Dio? Oh. Then Nux realized that he hasn't told her his real name yet. However, since there were more important things to deal with, he decided to postpone it a little. My perverted maid, don't leave the palace today since I won't be able to meet you. Huh? Why? What happened? I have some guests that I need to entertain in my house. Guests? Yes, the Benormain House decided to send some assassins here. Nux decided to be honest. What? Would? All right, you don't need to panic. They're just some random master stage cultivators. I can beat them with my eyes closed, Nux replied confidently. However, Etta's mouth twitched when she heard his words. What do you mean, some random master stage cultivators? She was a master stage cultivator as well. No matter where they are, even in the royal palace, master stage cultivators are still considered decent. They should be elites when it comes to a house that is on a marquess level. This shows how seriously Benormain House takes you, and this was all because of her. Etta felt guilty since she pulled him into her problem. Where do you live? Tell me, and I will come and help you, she offered. No matter what, she was still a master stage cultivator. She might be able to help him. Nux thought about it and nodded. He might not need her help right now, but he will need her help later. Also, it was time to meet Etta as Nux Leander, not Dio Brando. Come soon. Also, bring the strongest sword or dagger you have with you. Okay, but where do you live? Oh, right. Just come to Viscount Felberta's mansion. Viscount Felberta? Yes, just come here. I'll tell you everything soon. Okay. Then Etta kept the matter aside. The assassins were the priority right now. On the other hand, seeing the solemn look on his face, Fel knew something happened, and she questioned, Why do you look so serious? Nothing really. I noticed that there are some uninvited guests here. You wait here, let me welcome them with a warm smile. Then with a warm smile, Nux activated his conceal and walked towards Ash Winter, the strongest assassin of the group. After a 1-minute-long leisurely walk, he appeared behind Ash Winter, who was hiding behind a wall, and positioned himself in a way that he won't be located when his conceal wears off. Pat. A chop on her neck, and she's down. Nux dragged her body a little further, making sure her partners wouldn't see her. Then he reactivated his conceal and appeared in front of Aldora Horn, the second strongest of the group. The same treatment, a chop on the back of the neck, and she's down. This time, however, the girl named Lona somehow saw him while he was dragging her body, and she shouted, 4, 7, be careful, he's already dealt with 5. What? Nash spoke out loud, dumbfounded by how he appeared behind 5, but he wasn't given the chance to think about it. Nux's eyes then fell on Nash, who was hiding behind the tree, and he dashed towards him at an unbelievable speed. Nash wasn't able to react in time when he saw that scary speed. Nux quickly appeared behind him and, well, another chop. Another one bites the dust. Ease at the advanced stage? Bullshit! This was Nash's last thought before he lost consciousness. Nux then glanced at the last woman, Lona, and a charming smile appeared on his face. Lona was taken aback by how handsome he was, but she quickly recovered and glared at him. However, before she could make any plans, the man suddenly walked behind the tree and did not come out. Her body tensed up and was in a fully active state. She kept glaring at the tree, afraid she would miss his figure, and that wouldn't be any good for her. Suddenly, she felt someone patting her shoulder, and she heard a voice. "What are you looking at the tree all lost for? Were you charmed by my smile?" Lona's eyes widened in horror. She turned her head back, but before she could do anything, a chop, and she fell unconscious. Was I really charmed by his smile?
Edda quickly activated Conceal and left the palace. She ran the fastest she could as many thoughts ran into her mind. I just hope that he won't start fighting them. I am really scared about it. No matter what, they are still assassins of a marquis's house. They must be strong. She then increased her speed even more, and a few minutes later she appeared in front of Felberta's mansion and directly entered the place. Since she had activated Conceal, no one could see her entering, so without any restriction or blockage, she quickly entered the dining room. However, the scene she saw dumbfounded her to a great extent. Dio and 3 other women, one of them should be Viscount Felberta and the other 2 should be her maids, were sitting at the dining table having dinner. The 3 girls competed to feed the next bite to him, and Nux watched everything with a smile. The atmosphere might seem lively, but when she noticed 4 bodies lying behind the table, her eyes widened. Are these the assassins he was talking about? She stood there in a daze, and only came out of her reverie when the 4 of them ate their dinner, and Nux muttered, Why is Edda so late? Is she lost? Does she not know where you live? No, as a head maid, though she may not be close to me, she must know where I live, Felberta replied. Where are you, my perverted maid? Nux's voice sounded in her head. She then quickly deactivated her Conceal and appeared in front of them. Oh, you're here, Nux muttered. However, he was inwardly surprised. Why didn't my sense detect her? Is it because Conceal is a higher tier ability than Sense? That may be the case. He then shook his head, and with a gentle smile he walked towards Edda and offered his hand. Edda smiled back as she held her hand as the 2 walked over and sat on the chairs. So let me start the introductions, Nux smiled before he pointed at me. I'm sorry to hide that from you, Edda. I'll tell you my reasons later, but for now, just know that my name is not Dio. My real name is Nux Leander. Although Edda was surprised, she didn't care too much about it. Right now, she was looking at Viscount Felberta, who was smiling at her. She was very, very curious about her identity, even though she had a rough inkling of what it was. Well, now moving to the one you are the most curious about, she's Fel. You know her as Viscount Felberta Alevi. She's also the first woman I fell in love with. A big smile appeared on Felberta's face when she heard him. Then she glanced at Edda, who was looking at her with some hints of dissatisfaction. A disdainful look appeared on Fel's face before it was replaced by a sweet smile. Hello, Edda. I'm looking forward to having you as my sister. This is Skyla, my sweet little cheerful maid.
And this is Lane, my serious but shy maid. And you guys, this is Etta, a very perverted maid. Perverted? Skyla questioned as she blinked her eyes. Yes, she's very perverted, Nux answered with a smile, while Etta's face turned red in embarrassment. Though she has already accepted her being a pervert, she was still embarrassed when it was known to others. Skyla's eyes brightened in understanding as she glanced at Etta. She couldn't believe that the always serious-looking head maid was a pervert. Since she was a maid as well, she was very curious about Etta, but she always forgets to ask Nux about her since she was too busy with other thoughts. The same happened with Fel and Lane. Well, they were curious about Etta, but weren't curious enough to ask Nux about it when they were busy with other things. I'm not a perverted, Etta muttered, trying to preserve whatever little dignity she has left as a head maid of the royal palace. But when her eyes fell on Nux, who was smiling at her playfully, her face turned redder as she admitted, I might be a little perverted. Seeing her acting like that, Nux couldn't help but laugh out loud. He then felt that it was unfair to Etta and started spilling all the secrets. Don't be so shy, Etta. Everyone has a little something about them that only a few people know about. It is not embarrassing. Rather, it adds to your charm. For example, Fel here has an uncontrollable urge to be the dominant one in the bed, but she always fails miserably. This time, Felberta's face turned red. But Nux wasn't done yet. He then pointed at Skyla and continued. Skyla here has a weird tendency to smell panties after the night sessions. She says that she's curious about sex. However, I feel that she's just a pervert. Lane here is so weird that she likes having sex, she is too shy to talk or ask for it. I always wonder how that is possible when she was the loudest one when it came to moaning. Skyla and Lane's faces also turned red. The sight of 4 beautiful women lowering their heads in shame was amazingly alluring. Nux smiled inwardly as he patted Skyla's head. However, soon Etta's eyes fell on 4 bodies lying on the floor as she questioned, are these the assassins sent by the Bannermain house? Nux then blinked his eyes before he glanced at the bodies and muttered, Oh, right, they were here as well.
Oh, right, they were here as well. Etta's face twitched hearing his response, but she just shook her head in defeat. He really meant it when he said they are just random master stage cultivators. To think he can defeat 4 of them within just a few minutes? Heck, with how unbothered he looks, I won't be surprised that he was still holding back. Etta sighed before she questioned. So, what are we going to do with them? I do have a few things to test out. I can use them as a test subject. Are you talking about the slave seal? Felberta questioned. Yes, don't you think that they are the perfect targets for that? Nux replied with a smile. A faint smile then appeared on the group's faces as they glanced at the bodies lying on the floor. But first, let us remove the poison they have in their mouth, or else they will consume it once they realize that they are captured. Etta suggested, and then started removing the poison these assassins had stored in their mouth. All right, now how do we tie them up? Normal ropes wouldn't work on them, right? Nux replied as he glanced at Etta with a sly smile. Etta blushed a little before taking out a few ropes as she replied, This should work. Felberta, Skyla, and Lane looked at her weirdly before Skyla took the ropes and started binding the assassins while Lane walked toward the bathroom. A few minutes later, Skyla bound all their limbs while Lane returned with a bucket of water in her hand, and then she splashed the water on their faces. Splash! The assassins were jolted awake. They then looked around and quickly realized that they were captured. They tried to bite the poison pill they had in their mouth, but noticed that the pill has been taken away. As if pre-planned, the 4 of them sighed dejectedly. We will be tortured now. Everyone had the same thoughts. Of course, they weren't scared. They were just unhappy. As assassins, they were tortured in countless different ways and were pretty much immune to it. But that did not mean that they liked getting tortured. "You guys are awake," Nux stated with a smile, and seeing his charming smile, Lona remembered what happened before she lost consciousness. He defeated all of us alone, and he didn't seem like he was tired at all. She thought inwardly, "All right, I will not waste time and will question you directly. Are you guys willing to be my slaves?" His question surprised the 4 assassins, and the strongest one, Ash, snorted. "Huh! We have already sworn our life to Bannermane House and will not be— Yeah, I can do my worst, but you guys won't submit and whatever. I know all that. Also, stop lying to me. You have not submitted to the Bannermane House. Your real master is the kingdom. You're just working for the Bannermane and Hardwick House." The assassins did not have any change in their expressions. Nux shook his head as he continued. "Well, whatever. You do whatever you want. However, I do have one question. Why are you guys so loyal to the the Bannermane House? What's the point? You will die if you reject me. You might even get tortured to death. The Bannermane House won't care about it, just like how they didn't care about the other 2 men who died a few days ago. I believe you'll just be replaced and no one will remember you. Then why die? Why not be my slave and then return to where you came from? Nobody will know what happened and you can continue living." Suddenly a strange glint was shown in Nash's eyes as he questioned, "Will you really let us live?" 7! Ash screamed in anger, but Nash completely ignored her. "Yep, I will let you leave if you become my slave." "Then how would you make sure that I will not betray you in the future?" Nash continued questioning. Did I not save your life? Why would you even think about betraying me? However, if you do, I'll just tell the Bannermane House that you betrayed them, and they would deal with you later." Nux threatened. A weird smile then appeared on Nash's face as he nodded. Nux smiled as well, and then he questioned, "So, number 7, are you willing to be my slave?" "I am." Slaves. Nash Reeve. Suddenly, another section appeared on Nux's status right below his harem members section. He smiled as he looked at Nash, who felt a weird power entering his body, but since he didn't see anything, he ignored it. He was just too happy that he found someone so stupid and he would be able to leave this place quickly. "All right, number 7, you can go now. Remember, if I ever contact you, do come back. You promised." "Of course, I always remember my promises." Nash then stood up and smiled before he walked toward the door. The closer he got to the exit, the wider his smile got, before he finally walked through the door and left. Seeing him leaving so quickly and easily, Ash, Lona, and Eldora exchanged glances, and a single thought appeared in their mind. "This man is too naive. We might get out alive." Ash nodded to the other 2 before she started, "Will you really let us go if we become your slaves just like you did with Nash?" "Of course. I'm a very honest person. However, remember, if you do betray me, I will inform the Bannermane House about you becoming my slaves, and they will do anything in their power to kill you, so don't do that, okay?" The 3 assassins nodded, and a big smile appeared on Nux's face as he questioned, "So, number 4, 5, 6, are you willing to be my slaves?" "So, number 4, 5, and 6, are you willing to be my slaves?" Although they felt that the smile he had on his face while he questioned was a little uncomfortable, the 3 assassins' thoughts were too clouded with a chance to get out of here alive and did not think too much about this minor detail. "We are slaves. Nash Reeve, Lona Wilk, Eldora Horn, Ash Winter." A big smile appeared on Nux's face when he saw their names on his slave section. The 3 assassins felt a peculiar power entering their body. Then their eyes fell on Nux's devilishly charming and wicked smile before they felt something was wrong. This man doesn't look like he's this naive and dumb. He can't possibly let them go like this." Just as Ash was about to question Nux, his voice sounded, "All right, let's call your partner back as well." With that, he activated the telepathy skill the slave seal had and called, "Nash, return." With just 2 words, Nash, who was running back to the Bannermain house, stopped. "What?" Nash's eyes widened in horror when he realized his body had started running back to Felberta's mansion. Then he remembered the voice that echoed in his mind and his body trembled. What has he done to me?" A few minutes later, Nash returned and stood beside the 3 assassins. Good. When Nash returned, her fear and uncertain feeling exploded. She knew something was wrong. She was sure of it now. That deal was too good to be true. However, it was already too late. "What have you done to us?" Ash questioned in panic and horror. "In what?" Nux replied with a confused look. "Nothing. Then why is 7 back?" "Because I called him. Isn't a slave supposed to listen to whatever his master said?" "Then how did you contact him when he was so far away?" "His voice sounded in my head." This time it was Nash who replied. Ash and the other assassins' eyes widened in surprise. They don't know what was happening, but they knew it was bad. "Ah! Ah!" Suddenly, Ash screamed in pain as she fell on her knees. "What happened?" Lona questioned in panic. One had to know that they had been through intense torture and were used to it, so she knew that Ash would never scream like that. "What did you do to her?" she then questioned as she glared at Nux, who was looking at everything with a curious look. Actually, even he was surprised when he heard her screaming like that, but he soon realized what happened. "I think she was having thoughts about betraying me, her master." "This isn't the time to—" "Ah!" Lona wanted to continue, but suddenly Ash's screams turned louder as she clenched her head tightly and she rolled on the ground. "Stop it! I'm begging you! I'll do anything you say!" Ash begged in a hoarse voice. The pain was too much for her to bear, and she could feel that it was increasing without any signs of stopping. Lona and the other assassins' eyes widened when they heard her. She's begging? Is the pain that intense? Their body shuddered in fear. Even Nux felt a little weird seeing her rolling and begging like that. However, he still kept a tough front as he answered, "Stop thinking about going against me and it will end." This time, Ash took his words seriously. She quickly got rid of her thoughts about attacking him and muttered continuously, "I am loyal to him. I am loyal to him. I am loyal to him. I am loyal to him." This work seemed to have worked. As soon she felt the pain subsiding before it faded away. Ash lay on the ground, breathing heavily. She did not want to experience that again. Never. Thank you, Master." She then glanced at Nux as she crawled toward his feet and placed her forehead on his shoes. Nux frowned when he saw her acting like that. He wanted to step back, but Felberta placed her hand on his back secretly. He glanced at her and saw her shaking her head. Nux nodded and stood where he was. "Good." "What did you do to us?" Seeing what Ash was doing, Lona knew the pain she experienced was a lot stronger than they thought, and questioned. This time, however, her tone was a tamer than before. "As I said, I did nothing. It is you guys who agreed to become my slaves. Remember, I can see through your thoughts. The moment you guys think about betraying me, I'll make sure you suffer the pain far worse than you can ever imagine, and the pain would keep increasing till you throw that thought out of your mind. In other words, do what I tell you to do. Be obedient, and you won't face any problems. Is that clear?" Nux replied, and then questioned. "Yes." "That's yes, Master, for you."
"Yes, master." "Ash, now stand up." No matter how tired she was, as if his command was a divine order, Ash's body stood up and stood beside the other assassins. Seeing the 4 master stage slaves standing in front of him, Nux smiled in contentment. These weren't normal master stage cultivators, they were the strongest of the batch. With them, he can easily defeat an Earl house without even doing anything. However, this time his target wasn't a mere Earl house. His eyes then turned cold before he glanced at the assassins and questioned, "Tell me everything you know about the Bannermain and Hardwick house."
"Tell me everything you know about the Bannermain and Hardwick house," Nux questioned, as his eyes turned cold. "First, they attacked Etta. That was already too much, and now they even dared to attack Fel? Now that is too much. He needs to show them that he isn't easy to bully. However, he would need to learn how strong the 2 noble houses are. He can't be rash." The leader of the Bannermain house, Alger Bannermain, is at initial Grand Master stage, the same as for the Hardwick house leader. However, the latter is a little stronger. Before Lona could think how to reply, her mouth moved on her own, and her eyes widened in horror. This is too scary," Lona thought inwardly. Her thoughts about being loyal to her new master strengthened even more. Just an initial Grand Master stage? Then it will be too easy. Nux smiled, as he already formed different plans on how to deal with him. Etta, Felberta, Skyla, Lane, and the other assassins' lips twitched at his response. "What do you mean, just an initial Grand Master stage? He a Grand Master! A Grand Master!" Then they quickly remembered how abnormal he is and just shook their head. "Yep, as expected, he is an anomaly," Felberta confirmed her thoughts again. "She mustn't think of him like a normal person." "No, Master, it isn't that simple. The kingdom of Scotty is behind the 2 houses and has sent a group of assassins for them to use. As you already know, we are the said assassins. If these houses are attacked, these assassins will fight with their life, and it will be troublesome for you to fight them." Although she was not questioned about this, Ash decided to share extra and important information as a way to show her loyalty. The immense pain that was way more painful than any torture she has ever been through had left a deep mark on her heart. Kingdom of Scotty. Etta and Felberta muttered at the same time. Then they glanced at each other and chuckled. "Oh, then who is the strongest amongst you assassins?" Nux, however, completely ignored the extra information. He just did not care. He wasn't strong enough to care. Also, he was more interested in the assassins, Bannermain, and Hardwick houses. "I don't know her name, but we call her One, the strongest assassin amongst us. She is at the peak of Grand Master stage. However, it would be a mistake to treat her as a normal Grand Master stage cultivator. She's a Grand Master stage cultivator who has assassinated 3 expert stage cultivators in the past. So I believe it would be best if we treat her as an expert stage cultivator," Ash replied, pouring out all her thoughts and betraying the teammates she once swore to never betray. Although Lona, Nash, and Aldora felt a little weird, they quickly understood that they don't have a choice as well. They weren't scared if Nux could or will take their life, but they were scared of that hellish-looking pain Ash has been through. Also, their body moves on their own whenever Nux wants anything, so they can't really hide anything either. And if that was the case, they might as well be loyal to him from their heart. At least they wouldn't have to go through torture or be worried about their life. "Huh? An expert stage? This might be a little troublesome," Nux muttered inwardly. He was sure he could take on an expert stage cultivator and might even defeat her, but if he was surrounded by other cultivators at the same time, the odds weren't in his favor. It seems like he has to wait before he could take his revenge. Well, it was not like he was in any hurry either. He wouldn't risk his life.
I have something in my mind that might work." Just as Nux was about to give up and postpone the plan, Felberta's voice sounded. Nux then turned towards her and, seeing a weird light that was shining in her eyes, he questioned, "What is it?" "Well, I have 2 ways to deal with it, actually, but you might not want to use the first method," Melberta muttered. A wry smile then appeared on Nux's face as he questioned, "Is the first method you are talking about sneaking in and killing the one she mentioned?" Felberta smiled back as she nodded. Nux then shook his head and continued, "Leave it, tell me the second method. I am sure you must have thought something." It was not like Nux can't deal with the expert stage assassin. He could easily use his conceal to follow these assassins, and once they meet one, he could kill her and then deal with other assassins. But Nux did not want to use this method. He has just witnessed how scary and great his slave seal is. If used correctly, this ability can help him tremendously. These assassins are a strong force. If he could get them under him, he would be a step closer to his actual goal. Of course, his main aim was that one assassin. A peak Grandmaster stage cultivator. If he can get her as his slave, how much will his strength increase? Also, who doesn't want an assassin slave ready to do whatever he orders her to? Nux did, and seemingly seeing through his thoughts, Felberta came up with her second method. "Do you remember when I told you that someone asked me for Bannermain House information?" Her words attracted Nux's attention, and he nodded. "I do." The actual information he wanted was about, in the Bannermain mansion, Olger was walking around nervously while a woman wearing black clothes was standing in front of him.
Ah, why are they not here yet? How long will it take?
This was the 11th time he asked that question, and this time the woman, who was always ignoring him, couldn't hold out any more and snapped,
What the hell is wrong with you? Assassination is a work of patience, not to mention that they have to kidnap someone as well. Also, it has only been an hour since they left, you idiot. Now stop moving around like a bug.
Olger then paused as he glared at the woman in front of him. "Don't talk to me like that. I am not your subordinate," he replied in a threatening tone.
"Oh yeah? Well, I am not your subordinate as well, so stop annoying me."
The woman threatened back, her voice sending chills down to Olger's spine. However, he controlled his fear and gained some confidence as he replied, "What would you do if I don't? No, let me rephrase. What can you do if I don't?" The woman's gaze turned cold. Her icy blue eyes glared at Olger, and before he could react, a dagger was placed in front of his neck. "Don't think you can talk to me like that just because you are a useful pawn for the kingdom. Remember, pawns are always the first ones to be sacrificed. Although upon dying without fulfilling his role hurts, it is not to the extent that the kingdom would take any action themselves. So don't think I cannot kill you because of the kingdom. Am I clear?" Her threatening voice was so cold that Olger's scalp went numb. The icy cold eyes that shined menacingly told him that she wasn't fooling around. One more word and he will die. Gulp. Olger gulped audibly and nodded. "Good, and don't disturb me for today." Saying that, the woman turned around and left. Only after she left the hall did Olger's stiff body return to normal. He then took a few deep breaths to calm his racing heart. Then his gaze turned cold, and a green-black dagger appeared in his hand. "Should I do it?" Olger muttered. Soon, however, he shook his head and calmed down. The woman wasn't alone. If anything happened to her, all those assassins might come after him. He then stored his dagger inside his space ring and sighed. "Let's just take a bath," Olger muttered to himself before he walked into his bathroom. After his bath, Olger was sitting at his dining table, along with his wife and 7 consorts. A servant then walked over before he put some food on the table and ate it in front of everyone. Alger nodded, and the servant started putting food on everyone's plates. "All right, let's start," Alger ordered, and everyone started eating. After the dinner, Alger wanted to spend some time with his harem, but when he remembered that the assassins still haven't returned, his mood worsened, and he just walked into his room to have some rest. He then jumped onto a soft bed, and soon he entered the dreamland at an astonishing quick speed. While Alger was sleeping peacefully without the care of the world, he did not notice a pair of captivating golden eyes watching his every movement. Suddenly, a figure wearing skin-tight black clothes and a black mask that covered his nose and mouth appeared in front of his bed. The figure then took his space ring, and a green-black dagger appeared in the figure's hand. Slap! He then walked towards Alger and slapped his face. Bam! Alger's body flew out before it crashed with the wall. He quickly woke up and looked around, but he couldn't see anyone. His brows furrowed as he stood up. Just as he was about to call his servant, an intense pain assaulted him on his right leg. Ah! He saw a big, deep cut on his calf as blood flowed out uncontrollably. Then he finally saw a figure wearing black clothes carrying a familiar dagger in his hands, looking at him with his exquisite golden eyes. Wow, this dagger is really great. It's already showing its effect. Alger then heard his joyful voice, and he quickly understood what that numbing feeling on his calf was. That dagger in the man's hand wasn't just a familiar dagger, it was his dagger. How did he get his hand on it? He then looked at his hand and noticed that his ring was gone. Alger then thought of a possibility, and his eyes widened. Yes, you are right. I poisoned your food. The Strangler, if you know about it. Alger's eyes widened in horror when he saw the poison the man carried in his hand. Oh, it seems you know about it. Mannen, it's a really ruthless poison, huh? First, it makes the target fall into a deep sleep, and when he wakes up, he won't be able to speak anything for the next hour, giving an assassin all the time he needs to kill the target. Also, it has only been an hour since they left, you idiot. Now stop moving around like a bug. Alger then paused, as he glared at the woman in front of him. Oh, you must be wondering who I am, right? He then lowered his mask, and Alger's eyes widened. Dio! No, he's that Nux guy! Nux Leander! Outside the room, Alger's butler was rushing into Alger's room since he heard the sound of crashing. However, a servant then appeared in front of him. You can't go in there. Cliff, what are you doing? Why are you stopping me? Also, as Marquis Alger's personal guard, shouldn't you rush in and check what happened as well? Why are you still here? Nothing is happening inside. I don't want to stop you. I'm just fulfilling Marquis Alger's wish. He says he doesn't want to be disturbed. Also, the voice you heard was him throwing around a fit. He seems really angry. Angry? About what? Cliff then gave him a blank look as he replied, How would I know? True. Now look, I don't care about you, but I still want to live. So if you want to go inside, just knock me unconscious, else I won't let you. Ugh, okay. I will leave. By your expression, he must be really angry, huh? Yes, I don't know what happened, but... Another sound came out of the room, and the butler was sure that a vase must have been broken. Yeah, I don't want to go inside either. Mm-hmm. Cliff nodded. However, if the butler was a little observant, he would have seen a small sigh of relief he released. ... If the butler had entered the room, he would see that rather than Marquise throwing around a fit, it was the Marquise who was being thrown around here and there. After confirming who his assailant was, the Marquise gained some confidence and noticed that Nux was just a master stage cultivator. A big smile then appeared on his face. Although he might be injured and his right leg might not be working properly, it was still easy for him to defeat a master stage cultivator. He was a grand master stage cultivator after all.
With the newly gained confidence, he stumbled but then balanced his body as he dashed towards Nux. Though he didn't really do well against Nux. Slap. And he made it look so effortless. His body then smashed at his favorite vase, and the Marquise coughed out some blood. Tsk, tsk. You really think I would have appeared in front of you and then wake you up with a slap if I wasn't sure enough to beat you? Use your brain, you idiot. Oh, if you were expecting that someone would enter the room due to the sound, forget that. Everyone outside knows that Marquise Alger is throwing around a fit in anger. Alger's eyes widened in surprise, in horror. Although he believed that he could defeat this man alone for double security, he still wanted his guards to enter the room. However, Nux's words poured cold water on his dreams. He then saw Nux walking toward him with a smile. The dagger he was holding was shining brightly. Oh, right. I will upload the dagger's picture in the auxiliary chapter. Well, I'll upload it here as well, so you lazy bums wouldn't have to move too much. Nux then appeared behind him, and before he could react, he slashed his left calf. Ah! Marquise let out a painful shriek in his mind. Soon, however, he felt a numbing sensation all over his leg, and the pain started to decrease. Of course, it wasn't something to be happy about. With this, both of his legs won't work for a while. He is completely helpless at the moment. Now, let's see. How do I start this? First, you send someone behind my perverted maid Edda. That calls for one limb. Then you are even bold enough to attack my beautiful Fell. That calls for 2 more limbs. That means I will sever your 2 hands and 1 leg. Don't think I will use your dagger for it. I'll use a simple steel sword. Since our body is really strong, it would need me quite a few moves to sever even one of your limbs, so let's not waste any more time, okay? Alger's eyes widened in horror and fear. His body started to tremble. He wanted to beg for mercy. He wanted to say that he would do whatever he wants, but he could not. However, Nux seemed to know mind reading as he quickly suggested his next offer. Well, if I'm being honest with you, and you can also judge it from my face as well, I'm a refined and handsome person. I don't like being a bloodthirsty maniac, so I will present you with another offer. We can stop all of this torture if you accept being my slave. What do you say? Suddenly Alger's movements stopped. Slave? His slave? How will he ensure my loyalty? Will he poison me and then keep the antidote with him? Yeah, that must be it. No worries. I can find a potion maker who will make the antidote. Right now, my life is much more important. Seeing the determined light that showed in his eyes, Nux smiled as he questioned, So, Alger Bannermane, are you willing to be my slave? Alger nodded with a determined face, and soon he felt a peculiar energy entering his body. Not good. Although he did not know what this energy was, matching it with the timing, he knew it wasn't something good. Before he could think much, Nux suddenly forced a potion into his mouth. This is the antidote to Strangler. Now take your ring and find some antidote for this dagger. Alger furrowed his brows. A few seconds later, he could feel that he could now speak. He wanted to scream and call for his guards, but just as that thought appeared, an intense pain assaulted his head. Ah! Don't shout. Shut your mouth. Alger wanted to shout, but his mouth closed automatically and even his throat refused to let out a muffled scream. The intense pain continued to assault his head and it kept increasing. However, the worst part was that he couldn't even scream. Remove the thoughts about betraying me out of your head and the pain will subside. After torturing him for a good 15 minutes, Nux suggested. After what could be said the worst pain he ever experienced, Alger heard Nux's next words and quickly did as he was told. Actually, Nux found out that once the pain starts, the target doesn't have the time to think about betraying him or anything along those lines, since the pain is already too much. The requirement is to be loyal to him. Once the target thinks about being loyal to him, the pain will subside. Of course, when assaulted with that level of pain, no one would be able to think about anything, and the pain will continue until someone tells the target to be loyal to Nux. Nux could stop the pain, but he wanted to torture him a little as a punishment for attacking Edda and fell. Ha, ha, ha. Alger breathed heavily after the pain subsided. Now stay loyal to me. If you even think about betraying me, the pain will return and it will be even more powerful than before. Remember that. Alger's whole body shuddered in fear when he heard him. Betraying? Master? No way! He will become the most loyal servant the world has ever seen. If his master wants him to do anything, he would do it, even if it costs him his life. He just doesn't want to bear that horrifying pain again. Yes, master. Good. Now take the antidote and cure your numb legs. There is no antidote for this, master. The numbness will subside within 30 minutes. Whatever. Just stay on the floor then. Saying that, Nux took back Alger's ring again and stored everything in his inventory before throwing it back at him. He then lay on Alger's bed comfortably as he questioned, "So, where does that one live?" One? She and her assassins live in the back of the mansion. However, master, I will warn you, though. One has killed a few expert stage cultivators, so be careful around her. Although Alger wanted to ask how he learned about one, as a loyal servant, he did not, and just answered his question. However, he still warned his master about how strong the woman he was asking about is. Nux nodded before he closed his eyes and waited. How was it? Success? Suddenly, he heard Fell's voice in his mind. Yes, he is now under me. Good. Now let's discuss the second part again to make sure it doesn't fail. Yes. Nux smiled as he, Skyla, Lane, Fell, and Edda discussed the next plan. Well, only Fell and Nux were discussing, the other three were just silent and saying a few words a few times. Half an hour later, Alger's numb legs returned to normal. Since he had already taken a few healing potions, the cuts in his legs were almost healed as well. At the very least, he could stand up and move around now. However, seeing Nux sleeping on his bed, he thought about dealing a killing blow, but the horrifying pain returned. This time, however, he quickly removed the thoughts about betraying him and replaced them with him being loyal to him, and the pain subsided. He did not scream in pain since he did not want Nux to know about him thinking about betraying him. This also ensured him that whatever master said before was right. The pain will return every time he thinks about betraying him, even if the master himself is sleeping. This solidified his resolution to remain loyal even further. Master, I'm healed now. He then called him out politely. Nux's eyes opened as he awoke. He then glanced at Alger standing beside him with a respectful look on his face. Now, tell me about your personnel army. Is it also under the control of the Kingdom of Skadi? Alger was surprised that his master knew the name Kingdom supporting him. One had to know, even the Thousand Information Chamber doesn't know the name of the kingdom. How did he know? However, although he was surprised, his body moved on its own and answered the master's question. No, my army is under my control. Baron, Viscount, and Earl aren't allowed to keep their private army. However, the same is not true for Marquis and Dukes. These two noble ranks have the permission to keep their private army that listens to their orders. Of course, they are required to tell the name of every single soldier and his cultivation stage to the kingdom. If somehow a soldier whose name is not mentioned is found, the punishments are very harsh. All right, take me to your general or whatever is the highest position. As you command, master. The two of them walked towards the head of the Bannermain Army's room. Yes, since he was the head of the army, he was required to stay in the mansion.
Not that he complained either. The room he and his family was provided was very lavish and safe, so he was happy to oblige. Knock, knock, knock. Alger then knocked on the door. Actually, he always calls him through a servant whenever he needs, but since Nux has ordered him to take him there, he obliged like the obedient servant he was. Huh? Marquise Alger? What brings you here in the night? The head of the army, Hawk Reed, opened the door as he questioned. Nux could feel that he was a late master stage cultivator without using his eye of discerning and nodded. Then, without wasting any time, he asked what he was here for. Hawk Reed, are you willing to be my slave?